Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Yes, Mr. Z is late. Of course I am. Um, right. So today's Sunday. We're doing our morning wrap up. It's just has been a crazy week. That's why you guys haven't seen me so much this week. But we are going to start off with being in an intimate relationship with a man being a luxury for women, right? So for the past few weeks, months, years, we've been having articles speaking about how lonely men are, how single they are. We've been having articles written about how marriage and relationship is healthy for men. Um, Scott Galloway has spoken about this all the time, like, intimacy and keeping men on the straight and narrow and having someone tell you, no, don't put that shirt on, take a shower, blah, 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 right? Which is, your friends, your parents, and a loved one, right? A girlfriend, a wife. And we've been seeing a trend towards more and more men being single. We already know about the Morgan Stanley memo, the she economy that speaks about 45% of women being single and childless between 2018 to 2030. And it got me thinking that we haven't really spoken to the women about how intimate relationship is going to be a luxury item for them. We haven't spoken to them about eventually dating men 8, 10 years your senior as a way to opt out of dealing with how this society has screwed over boys and men of your same age range. That that is going to run out, right? That's going to run out. So what do you do then? See, many women haven't had their backs put to the wall to see what it looks like when you don't advocate for your boys who then become men, and what that looks like for then the girls and the women of their same age cohort, right? You would have thought extra women would have got their minds right and understood it, but they missed the point of hyper focusing on making sure the girls and the women do well and kind of leaving the men out here to fend for themselves, right? What does that look like, right? And so they're living with the consequences. And being in an intimate relationship with a man will become a luxury item. It won't just be marriage, it won't just be dating. Now it's going to be any type of situation short of forced to be with around you because of work or because of school. And I think that's something women really haven't considered outside of your radical and extreme feminists who overtly and outright say how great that will be, how great that world would be when they interact with men as seldom as possible, right? See, one of Mr. Z's biggest gripes with some of these feminists, particularly radical feminists, is they lie to other women to their face. They don't tell them what this is going to look like. They don't tell them exactly what they're advocating for. They don't. And yes, people should be held accountable for what you believe in, right? You should be held responsible for what you believe in. That's true. That is absolutely true. But you gotta know the feminists that get off on watching men hurt, right? The feminists that see this as a zero sum game, they don't actually talk to your everyday woman about, yeah, the whole point was for us to do better than the men so we wouldn't not only just need the men but even want to be around them, right? As evidenced by the decline of the family video that Green Gorilla put out some month and a half ago. They knew, they tried it already. They tried it in the 60s and the 70s, straight up telling women, hey, by the way, yeah, you don't need men, and quite frankly, why do you even want one? They tried it, it failed. So they did sneak stuff. Well, we're going to advocate for women to go to college more. We're going to advocate for them to be in the workforce more. We're going to attempt to suppress males' wages, right? Everything men do is going to be up for scrutiny, et cetera, et cetera. And you have 50 years of that, and voila, right? Voila. And now we're here now. And so, yes, relationship with men will be a luxury good, a luxury item. So, no, Miss Kim Foster, right? Being with the man, that's nothing. It's okay. Well, Miss Foster, you had dozens of women in your comments. There've been dozens of women all over any video that speaks about celibacy, um, women not being in a relationship with men, and all of these women are telling you they haven't had sex in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years plus, and they don't exactly seem happy about it. They don't exactly seem happy about it, Miss Foster. Because all the women advocates and feminists and radical feminists have done is just psychologically prepare their subscribers, the people that follow them, for a lifetime of being single or in and out of situationships, unfulfilling situationships. And those women still ain't prepared. Y'all been trying to get them prepared, particularly for millennials. Those women are still not prepared. They're depressed. And one emergency happens in their life and they crumble. As evidenced by the video MTR put out, I think it was a day or two ago, with a heavyset young lady spun herself off the road. She's in a ditch and she's just screaming. No words, just screaming. If it was words, it was very few words. Screaming. The radical feminists and the feminists and the angry um colorist queens and um lifestyle queens and all of that, they haven't actually said to women what not having men around you cost, what not having a man costs. They haven't actually said to the women what it costs for your $45,000 to be it. That's it. That's all you get. Your $45,000 you make a year, the 40 grand you make a year, the 55, 50, $60,000, that's it. Right? And everything you want or need from a man, you're gonna have to pay for it, including sometimes sex. They haven't actually prepared them for that part of it. They try to prepare them with the men ain't ish and all that other language, but they haven't prepared the women for that life. Right? They talk a good game, but y'all haven't prepared these. Y'all definitely haven't said anything to them about what this looked like, what the separation of men and women look like, what men falling on their face looks like for women. Okay, let's be selfish. Let's hyper focus on the women. What do men look like falling on their face? A brother sent me a video actually, a segment. I can't remember. It was a big channel. Was it? I want to say CSM MSNBC or one of those CNBC, one of those, right? Did a segment about men dying early and the cost to women. Because we live in this feminist world, so it doesn't count if it doesn't happen to women. If it doesn't affect women negatively, it doesn't count, right? If men could die early and it has no effect on women, we won't even talk about it. Okay, fine. Um, and how this affects women, men dying early. So on one hand, you're admitting that this is an issue, Men dying five, not even five, 10 years plus women, right? Sometimes five, but 10 years plus of women, and how that affects women financially, socially, right? Politically. Okay, Leon, yes, yeah, yeah, right. I saw it, but then you sent it to me, right? And yeah, and they hyper focus on how it affects the women. And Mr. Z is saying, yeah, and there's a whole lot of men not. Even Hillary spoke about this one time, right? Hillary Clinton, way back when Bill Clinton was still in office, if I'm not mistaken, or at least right after he was out of office, but something along those lines, right? Of how men falling affects women, but your modern woman doesn't actually think it does while they struggle, because they're listening to their favorite angry feminist, their favorite colorist queen, their favorite men ain't ish, black men specifically ain't ish. They're listening to those women. Those women oftentimes can afford to not have a man, right? They're earning hundreds of thousands of dollars, or they're going on lecture tours, or et cetera, et cetera. You know who can't afford that? The women listening. The women earn their little 35, 40, 45, 50 grand a year. The women who spin themselves out in a ditch and s- turn on their TikTok and start screaming at the phone, right? You have woman after woman after woman after woman yelling about these bills. And the best a Kim Foster has for you is, let's bring back we don't need these Negroes feminism. That's her answer. The best Yanni has for you is, well, if you can't meet a dude at the absolute highest level of income, then you might as well be single, right? That's the best these particular content creators have for you. The best Paris has for you is now calling black men nakers. Yeah, telling you about all the black men she finds unattractive, taking shots at the black men that women tend to find attractive, and just psychologically preparing the women for a life of solitude. Not really, but her best try, right? Cynthia G is telling you to abort black male babies, right? Chrissy is telling you don't attend HBCUs, don't send your daughter to HBCUs. Yeah, because PWIs are a whole lot better for black women when it comes to the realm of intimacy, love, and a man who's actually going to take care of them. Meanwhile, the white women are screeching. Yeah, have fun. Have fun with that, right? Have fun with that. So we are preparing, or we're trying to prepare our nieces and our daughters and the young women, particularly millennials and Gen Z, to just be single and lean on your network of other single, lonely, and miserable women. And yes, like Mr. Z says all the time, just because you're single doesn't mean you're miserable. J. Loke said PWI, predominantly white institution. Just your random colleges and universities that's predominantly white, the ones that are not HBCUs, right? So HBCUs, historically black college and university. PWIs are predominantly white institutions. Thank you, lithium. Or eat the box, right? Or eat the box. It's going to be a luxury good to be in a relationship with a man. See, your angry feminists thought it was perfectly okay to make women a luxury good for men, to price men out of being in relationship in an intimate relationship with men. They never actually said to the women what that looks like on the other end for the women. I put up a chart a couple days ago of who's having children in wedlock, right? And it was college educated women for the most part. Even though their number has doubled of who's having children out of wedlock, excuse me. But for the most part, it was college educated women who are having children in wedlock. See, that's the part of the conversation we often don't talk about, the class part of the conversation, the income part of the conversation. Y'all let the white elites price regular people out of enjoying regular stuff and then turn around and chastise the men individually for not being elites, particularly the black men, right? And Gold Professor says money for the plate, right? And thank you, Gold Professor, for that. Like y'all know, I always say, I always gotta remind y'all, Gold Professor was the first person to suggest that Mr. Z starts his own channel, which I did eventually, and we're here now. Y'all send all y'all hate mail to Gold Professor, right? These people are doing a horrible job at preparing these young women to be single or to be the what pass around for non-black dudes or to be in a same-sex relationship or situationship, right? As I was saying on Dr. T's channel the other night, conditional lesbianism and many of and the black see if you want to see what post-apocalyptic feminism looks like, I would like to direct you, and I want to actually make a video dedicated to what I'm saying about and I'm still playing with the concept of men becoming the luxury item for women, right? Intimate relationship with men, long-term intimate relationship with men becoming a luxury item. So we're going to table that. I'm not going to go too much into detail because I'm still working on that concept, right? But going further to what I was saying about this conditional lesbianism. Okay, so what's interesting about the black community is that we live in post-apocalyptic feminism, right? Particularly in the Black American community, we are ahead of just about everybody else when it comes to the effect of a particular brand of feminism, right? And what it produces oftentimes is conditional lesbianism. And every once in a while, you'll hear a black woman actually admit it. So for all my LGBTQ people out there who are going to, oh, I don't like the way this sounds homophobic. Nah, go. What I love about the black community is how blunt they can be. Go talk to your LGBTQ black women, particularly your non-educated ones, because the educated ones have a really good way of obscuring things and pretending what is isn't. Speak to the ones that don't know better about lying about it. They don't know how to lie about it. Speak to those. Your everyday lesbian and watch them tell you how they're in this because they weren't sought after when they were younger. They're in this because they never felt like men were attracted to them. They're in this because of whatever situation happened to them when they were young, some traumatic things, some um SA, right? We'll say, right? or they had a very horrible breakup with a man and then they went down this road, or they had a horrible breakup with a boy when they were in high school or in middle school and then they went down this road, or their whole friend circle is this way, so they just pretty much started to be on this too. Until Chisel Chin Tyrone walks in the room. Because what's interesting is, particularly in the black community, we all know there is that one dude for every single LGBTQ woman, particularly lesbian woman. There's always that one. There's one guy, whether she's butch or not or femme. There's one guy. Right. Conditional lesbianism. I think it's something, it's not a new concept. We've spoken about this, but I think it's something that we need to really push and bring back in our lexicon and then have these particular people defend this position. And I'm not saying to defend your humanity or your sexuality. I'm saying stop talking like, oh, we're born this way. Are y'all? All of you? And why does that matter in the overall conversation? It's to say y'all have made the environment so toxic for men and women relationships that women in any other circumstance maybe wouldn't have been in the situation they find themselves in with another woman, or in a situation with another woman. Because we have to be honest that where we are now is not happenstance. It was very deliberate. Suppressing of male wages was very deliberate, especially when you count in the Powell memo, neoliberalism, right? Chasing after every penny, the fiduciary responsibility of these people to maximize shareholder profit. So screw the workers, screw everyone else. You put all of that in the same pot. Find cheaper, more pliable labor. Turn the entire work environment toxic, right? Strip people of labor rights, or find the workaround around labor rights, particularly for the men, the industries that the men frequent, and you're in this environment. And Miss Kim Foster claims to be a voice for women. Are you speaking about the women that are suffering under this because women like you got to whisper in people's ears in the White House, in different state capitals around the country, and y'all helped to destroy the relationship between working class men and women? That part, have you spoken about the women about that part, Miss Kim Foster? Huh? Or are you too busy sidestepping class and getting women to be in solidarity around these men ain't ish, and bring back we don't need these Negroes feminism? Meanwhile, the women actually do need men. Yikes. Hmm. The reason why I want us to bring back the concept and definitely emphasize conditional lesbianism is because we're going to see some of that. As men and women become further and further apart, we're going to see that conditional lesbianism, which is women engaging in same sex relationships and occasionally cheating on that same sex partner with a man. I would like to direct you to the black community if you doubt me. Many of the time, much of the times, where you see these lesbian women get into fisticuffs with each other, have a falling out, is because one of them cheated with the dude. That's not just bisexual. That's supposed and action it's bisexuality. But these supposed 10 toes down lesbians are also cheating on their girlfriends with men. The ones that don't claim to be bisexual. So the bisexual and the supposed lesbians, by the way, butch and femme, right? They're cheating on their lesbians partners with men they work with men around the neighborhood, right? With men so they can have certain services done. Giggity, right? Because very few people are honest with the women about what this looks like. So I want us to bring that back into our lexicon, right? Conditional lesbianism, because that's what it is. For the good and bad of it, and what that looks like for your everyday woman, right? And y'all give me a second. Let me get to these notes, right? Okay, so the other day I was speaking to you guys about the channel Playback with the two brothers. One of them is a heavy set, darker skinned brother. The other one is, he looks kind of Afro Latino or whatnot, maybe mixed. Um, and they were speaking about the Chris Rock stand up and certain black women feeling attacked by Chris Rock, right? And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Certain black women feeling attacked by Chris Rock and speaking about how Chris Rock deserved this slap, right? And what's interesting about that is Playback covered a young lady named Henrietta, right? Speaking about it and pretty much saying black men get off making fun of black women in front of white people and essentially saying Chris Rock deserved this. So I guess after the brothers from the Playback covered the story, young men descended on her comments, I guess, on TikTok and whatever, Twitter or wherever she has her social media. And the young lady started blocking all the comments for all her videos on TikTok, apparently. Right? Not only did she do that, but she asked her subscribers or her subscribers asked other subscribers to start a flagging war against these young men. Right? These young people, particularly young women, are so fragile. And they throw rocks and hide their hand. And they sneak diss and then act like damsel in distress when you respond back full throatedly and bluntly. Right? These people, like I said on a previous video, they like sneak dissing, but when you respond back full throatedly, then they start copping pleas and they want to play victim and damsel in distress. They What's interesting about these particular type of women is they sneak diss men in general, and then when a man responds, then they are, why are you? What's your problem? These men are so pressed. Example: Kim Foster dissing black men, dissing the black manosphere, and then act like Obsidian is obsessed with her. You dissing black men and the black manosphere. So when a black man that's part of the black manosphere responds, you can't then play, oh, I'm scared. He's so pressed. He's so obsessed with me. You're talking crap. You are talking crap. Not only, see, they think they have cover because they say it in a very obscure way, right? Lady, if we even smell you looking in our direction, we at you. And stop acting like we're dumb. I know you think we are. I know you think we're just big dumb brutes. I understand. This is how you've bought into white supremacy. But we understand what you're implying when you imply things. When you suggest it, we get it too. Ma'am, you're talking about the group of people that invented hip hop. We know what sneak dissing look like. We know what double entendres look like. We know what similes and metaphors look like. You're talking about that group of people. You realize that, right? So you could stop sneak dissing, implying, suggesting, and then when somebody responds, when a man, when a black man, when a black man, part of the black manosphere responds, you don't, oh my God, he's so pressed. He's so obsessed with me. Right? And Tampa Bong says, back in 96, um, back in 96, Smith College president of SU, who was a staunch feminist, had a entanglement with a Dartmouth brother from Tampa. Circumstance really shows what we really are, right? And you could talk all that men ain't ish and female empowerment and we need to be single and we need to practice political lesbianism and all of that other stuff, which is different than conditional lesbianism, but not so much different. Political lesbianism is you making a very conscious choice to be in a same-sex situation with a woman because it's about the politics of air quotes female empowerment for you. So you can't see you being intimate with a man while fighting against air quotes the patriarchy, right? In these people's mind, they're doing feminism injustice by speaking all of this female empowerment talk while being intimate with men and having children with men, and et cetera, et cetera. Right? But yeah, so like I said, we're going to see a rise in that. I think we're going to see a rise in conditional lesbianism. And by the way, this is what the radical feminists wanted. For those of you, you can go back to a video I did. As a matter of fact, I'll start saving clips and playing clips on my channel to bring y'all back up to speed of radical feminists in Britain speaking about this, right? Back in the 70s and 80s, but the documentary was recorded, if I'm not mistaken, in the early aughts or somewhere in the 90s. It's called Angry Women, and women with a WIMMEN, if I'm not mistaken, right? And it's these radical feminists from different backgrounds, one of them being American, in Britain, and you're listening to them literally spell it out for you what their plans were. Some of them literally being in heterosexual relationships, never considering same-sex relationships until they came into contact with this brand of feminism, and literally divorcing their husband and leaving their children to go to this to be part of this lesbian, I guess, right? Lesbian organization and waging war on men. Literally. Some of them advocating for men and women to be separated on two different hemispheres, right? Western hemisphere, Eastern hemisphere. Yeah. And they spelled it out for you. One of the main women of that, she did it's not recent ish, it's not really recent, but it's less than a decade old, if I'm yeah, about that. She did it's a big thing. She was on the channel and she spoke about political lesbianism, and she's still on it. Obviously, she's lesbian, But she straight up said, yes, you can help who you're attracted to. Yes, you can help who you're in love with. If that's in Britain, you think that didn't happen in America? Combahee River Collective, anyone? You think those people didn't have any type of say at all in any of our politics? At all? This is why Mr. Z has an issue with the way black women move, but Mr. Z speaks about this like it's bigger than them because it is. But they can't talk like that because for them, the be all and end all is black men ain't ish, beginning end. That's why I scoff at people speaking about the black manosphere, particularly about people like me, like we hate women. No, we don't hate women. And we definitely don't hate black women. But we see how they took the tool off of racist master's table and use it to beat up on black men because of who didn't want them in middle school and high school and in college. That part. Right? And Michael Ross, thank you for the super sticker. Right? This is part of what's happening. But you know, you and Toya said, them women, quotes, right? Them, quote, women gotta stay the F around me, gotta stay the F from around me, right? But Toya, you're in the know, right? You're in the know, right? You weren't gonna be part of that lifestyle anyway, and you're in the know. Many of these women aren't in the know. And then they get their little heart broken by some high schooler or some young adult man, and all it takes is one or two words from a particular person and they go and left. It essentially is the same as the dude from your girl's job, from your wife's job, from your girlfriend's job that's just waiting for you to mess up. She's waiting for y'all to, I mean, excuse me, well, I'm gonna say a she in a minute, but he's waiting for y'all to have some tension so that he could scoop in. He's waiting. These particular women, they're doing the same thing. They're preying on other women. They're waiting for them to have a situation where they have an issue with their man or a boy. And then they hit them with all of this feminist rhetoric. Mind you, they've been hitting them with all of this feminist rhetoric since these people were born, since these girls were well, girls. Right? And then one or two heartbreaks, and you're ripe for the taking. And I want us to stop talking like what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. I'm being hyperbolic. That's not what's going on. That is what's going on. That is exactly what's going on. Yes, political lesbianism is a thing. Yes, right? Conditional lesbianism is a thing. And what's beautiful about the black community is you will run into black women who straight up say it. We could see it in some of their actions, right? But they'll say it. And then you have to ask yourself, well, how did we get here? What's going on with the men and the women where women are practicing conditional lesbianism? And it goes right back to, well, the OG lesbians, particularly in the 60s and 70s, who want to create this condition. They want to create this environment. And so you have the feminists like Kim Foster who never talk about it. You have all these pop culture critics or people that give their opinion, like Chrissy and Yanni and Paris. They never talk about it. Mahogany Pink, yeah, her channel's pretty much been dead for a year. She never spoke about it. Lexus Exodus doesn't speak about it. Cynthia G doesn't speak about it. All those other smaller divester channels don't speak about it because they're so myopic. It's black men ain't ish. Go get you a white man, beginning, end. Meanwhile, white society is doing all type of investigative reporting about what's going on with our boys and our men. Oh my God, what we're gonna do? What about the military? What about the economy? What about Social Security? Right? So when it's happening to black boys and black men, meh, character flaw. Right? Now it's happening to white boys and white men. Oh my God, ring the alarms. The whole world, the sky is falling. Right? So going back to this, what's her name? Henrietta, something like that. Young lady, you can't be that fragile. You use Chris Rock as an avatar to say black men like insulting and making fun of black women in front of white folks, right? And this is loser stuff. This is how you were speaking. And then when black young men respond, now you're a fragile little right wilted violet. Not no, you don't get to play damsel in distress. Dear feminists, tell women what comes with equality. What that means is how men go at men, men are gonna go at women. Dear dear feminists, tell women what comes with equality is they don't get to play damsel in distress. That's patriarchy. That's a tool patriarchs give women. You don't get to play damsel in distress under an egalitarian system. Now we equal. You don't get to play fragile and weak in an egalitarian system. Nope. You don't get to sneak this and imply and suggest and just overtly say negative things about another group, and then they're supposed to play, soft with you and play with their hands behind their back. Oh no. You used Chris Rock's stand up to go at black men, and when those young black men responded, now you want to block comments and now you want to send your subscribers out there to go at the channel playback. No. Right? This dissing or sneak dissing and then playing damsel in distress afterward, yeah, the white girls get to play that game, and once again, only certain white women. But you can't, black women, unfortunately. That would mean you would have to go at white supremacy, and y'all not about really doing that. Y'all too busy trying to get up under the white man. Goddamn, Mr. Z. Yeah, y'all a little too early with the trying to play damsel in distress against black men. And like I said in a previous video, white men got their own BS they trying to deal with white women. They're not gonna let black women pull damsel in distress against black men. Plus, they don't care, quite frankly. Like I said before, unless it's in the moment and they're trying to use you against black men, yeah, they don't care about none of that. Oh my God, I'm scared. Black men are coming after me. Shout out to Crystal and Kerosene. White men are trying to regulate white women right now. You think they care what y'all talking about? They have a whole full-blown crisis on their hands. That's why you see the whole entire environment is starting to shift to, oh my God, what are we gonna do? The men are actually calling our bluff. They're not getting married. Oh my God. They're not having children. Oh my God. They're not chasing after the women. Oh my God. They don't care about working 60, 70 hours a week to provide for women, ungrateful women who don't like them, who are going to divorce them and take half anyway. See, your everyday woman may not understand how dire this is for the system and even for her in her individual life in the future, but the social designers and the technocrats and the sociologists, they know. The historians know. The political science majors, the ones that are not being biased, know. Those people know. That's why they're all like, oh my God. Why do you think Richard Reeves and Scott Galloway are out here? Even FD Signifier, he knows he has two boys. He know what their life would probably look like if he wasn't in the picture. They know. And let's make it worse. For those of us in serious relationships, and you have a competent girlfriend, you have a competent wife. We're not talking about a dummy. You still know what you can imagine what her life would be like without you. And we're not talking about like, patting yourself on the back too much, but patting yourself on the back. You realize, especially if you're stable, you realize the stability you bring to her life, the peace you bring to her life. And the grateful ones will actually say it. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. The grateful ones will say it unprovoked. Right? And so my issue with a lot of this talk coming from supposed women advocates and feminists and radical feminists is not being honest with the women. And the women are yelling and screeching. See, before social media, we knew because we were their brothers and we're their uncles and we're their fathers and we're their sons. We knew how miserable women were when they were single. Not all women. Some women enjoy their singleness and they enjoy, that lifestyle and what comes with it, pun intended. But most don't. I would argue most don't. And what social media has done is it has allowed everyone to have a microphone. And it has allowed women to sidestep the mega microphone of the mainstream media and to speak directly to the men and for the men to speak directly to the women. And you see how many young women, middle-aged women, older women just yelling, miserable. We have channels on YouTube dedicated to this conversation. Video after video of 50 some odd year olds, children at the house. All they have is their dog or their cat, and they're telling, I don't have nobody to go out with. Nobody's flirting with me. One of the worst feelings is locking eyes with a man and then just watching him walk out the store. I haven't had sex in how many years? Young women complaining. I went to the club. I came out. Look at me. No man tried to talk to me. No man tried to buy me and my girls a drink. Chrissy, where you at? Half of those black women, by the way, don't be going to black clubs. They go to white clubs. Yikes. All those Crystalline Cares and where you at? All those expand your options. What happened? Y'all are not being honest with the young women about what this looks like for them in the long run. Crystalline Cares is a whole drunk auntie now. Still not being honest with black women and black young girls about what this looks like. What waging a war against black men looks like for them in their life. Oh yeah, I saw a bit of that. And K Dot says, please check out Gender War Lore. He has video of a racist white man who married a black woman, bashing black men, defending divestors and swirlers. Oh yeah, I'm gonna make a dedicated video to that. And if I get their names and if they have a YouTube channel, I'm gonna tag them because I've been waiting to put my foot up one of these white dudes' rear end. I've been waiting for them. Me and Destiny are from the same county. I'm waiting for Destiny. My channel's too small, but I'm waiting. See, Angry Man and Bernard Rally, I understand, but those brothers on the political right, Destiny gonna have to see me. And I'm from. I know. Look, particularly white Cubans in South Florida, Destiny can't pull none of that stuff he was trying to pull with Angry Man on me. First of all, I'm on the political left. Secondly, I grew up in the same area you grew up in. This is a side of Mr. Z I've never seen before. But yeah, all that I'm waiting for these white dudes that keep on defending these divestors. You could send all of them to Mr. Z's channel. It's gonna be great to have that conversation with them. All the white dudes with or without black girlfriends and wives, send them to me. All of them that defend divestors, send them to me. So I could tell them what their wife be getting into with the brothers from the file room. Yikes. Right? And he don't make as much money as you. And he don't have the status as you. And he might not even be as good looking as you. But that gift of gab though, yikes. And Kevin C says, and thank you for the super chat, Kevin C. Kevin C says, everyone loves punching down on black men because they know there is no financial punishment. They can't even handle pushback on men's response. Exactly. Because we're not supposed to respond, particularly not black men. Right? Particularly not black men. See, when y'all saw what's the name of the Proud Boy, right? That was, I think he was on divorce court also. Who had the slim dark skinned black wife, and they arrested him maybe a day or two before January 6th. So he wasn't necessarily, he was part of like that part of January 6th. I think his last name is Nichols. I can't remember. He's out of Hawaii, right? This is why y'all see so many Proud Boys with them with Asian wives and girlfriends and ex-girlfriends, black wives and girlfriends and ex-girlfriends. Because women of color don't care nothing about that. He can provide me his lifestyle, even if he can't provide me a lifestyle. He's a white dude. He's Irish in life. I'll take it. And they will be married to a racist white dude, not even a rich one. Right? Not even a rich one. You know how messed up in the head you have to be to live and be born and raised in America. In America as a black person. I told y'all how Mr. Z is. And you're encouraging non-black people to talk crazy about black people. I never understood this. Even when we take it out of the relationship and intimacy and back and forth between black people, black men and black women. Or even in the class thing, we've had certain elders tell you straight up, yeah, I've had Asian friends, and yeah, they tell me how messed up black people are and how they could never be. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute, brother. You letting non-black people talk crazy about black people in your presence? You're actually encouraging them to say stuff reckless about us? So let's be honest, some brothers engage in that too. And we definitely know the sisters engage in it. That's one thing Mr. Z has never understood. I don't get down with it, is encouraging non-black people to talk insultingly about black people because you mad about something. You mad you couldn't get the type of black man you wanted, and so now you're encouraging your white husband to talk crazy about black men in this country when you one angry argument away from disappearing and the cops not even investigating where you are. You are one argument away from him disappearing you and don't even have charges filed against him. And you're encouraging that guy to talk reckless about black men. All right. Boy, that myopic anger, boy, hey. Right? And Kevin C says, these divestors, they're literally with white Anglo men and still find time to hate black men. Aren't they supposed to be happy with Zaddy? I would like to direct you to Crystal and Kerosene. As I said, she waged a whole jihad against black men because her and her black baby daddy didn't work out the way she wanted it to work out. She found her the squarest white dude to marry. They didn't even work out. They got a couple decades under their belt. Okay, cool. Right? But that goes to show you, like, these people, they're living the consequences of their worldview, of their actions, and they still don't get it. Or they do get it, and they're just going to continue to try to burrow themselves into that wall. So yeah, I'm gonna check out that video in detail, right? Because I saw the thumbnail for. I listened to a little bit of it, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah, this is gonna have to have a dedicated video, and I might come on a little bit later to speak on that. But yeah, right. And it speaks to just believing in, excuse me, smelling your own farts, right, and believing your own hype. Believing your own hype. So you find one off, two off white guys that'll speak like this on a recording, whether they're some dudes that's just smashing you, whether they're your boyfriend, whether they're your husband, and so you think this is a thing. White men going on record with black wives speaking reckless about black men, right? And black women are doing such a horrible job at protecting their position that they're separating themselves from black men in the public eye. So guess what that means, ladies? When your white racist husband does something messed up to a black man, you don't get to play like you didn't know who he was. He doesn't get to use you to defend his position. Look, well, I have a black wife. I can't be racist. I have a black wife. She's racist too. Yikes. Oh yeah, y'all think that's not going to be a story that comes up eventually and soon? Black women too damn loud about all they divester and talk. And plus, pretty much that was dead with what happened to January 6th. Divestors and swirlers, because they're so myopic, they're so loud. When your white husband comes out here and does something messed up to a black man, to a black boy, when he get caught saying the N word with the hard R, first he can't use you to say he's not racist, because you got to know instantly people are going to start checking his social media and your social media. Instantly. You ain't going to have time to delete stuff. That's number one. Number two, You know what that's going to mean for you in your life as a black woman married to a white racist man, as a black woman getting piped down by a white racist man, right? It happened down here in South Florida. One of our cities in South Florida, white cops got caught sending racist text messages to each other. One of the white cops was had a black girlfriend tried to you. I can't be racist, black girlfriend. They fired his ass anyway. Get out of here with that. If you live in any major city, we all know the white Latino dudes, the white Italian dudes, the white Anglo dudes, the white Jewish dudes, all racist as crap with a black girlfriend or wife. What that mean? I got a black wife. I can't be racist. What? We have thousands of years of history, particularly 500 years of history, even more specifically, 200 years of history that speak otherwise. Y'all be anti-black as hell, particularly anti-black male, and y'all be smashing black women and low-key black men. Y'all don't understand that a lot of these people see sex as a conquering. You wanted Yanni, who was having that conversation with her subscriber about black men using sex as a conquering concept and tool. Yeah, y'all talking about the wrong group of men, right? Y'all talking about the wrong group of men, right? So yeah, I'm gonna do a dedicated video on that. Black woman married to, because this was the goal anyway. Let me be very clear, just in case we ever have important people that come through on my channel. Even though I'm an hour in, they ain't listen this long. That's definitely sure. But let me be very clear. For many women, black women, women of color, this was the goal in the first place. The goal was to be with the rich white guy, whether he's racist or not, whether he's good looking or not, as long as he has some money and status. And they are willing to be, we're talking about women of color, particularly in this case, black women. They want to be the upper middle class and rich white woman. They want to have their femininity validated by men of means, including white men of means, including racist white men of means, including white men of means that hate or have disparaging comments and concepts about their particular group, about these women of color particular group. That's how you get Asian women in relationship with white racist men who talk ill of Asian men. That's how you get black women in relationship with white men who speak ill of black men. That's how you get that. Because the goal was to be the white woman in the first place. The goal was to be the upper middle class white woman in the first place. And so if that means that I have to be in a relationship with a racist white dude, so be it. Can he pay for that Benz every month? Okay, he can. Good. Can he pay for that 4 or 5 bedroom house in the suburbs and send my kids to at least a really good public school? Yes, good. I don't care if he takes grandma's house on the back end. I don't care if it costs me my relationship with my cousins and them, right? I don't care that what he does for a living, like I said, working at a foreclosure mill as an attorney, taking grandma's house when she only got 2 payments left on it, right? I don't care that him and his friends share inward jokes with each other. As a matter of fact, I'm in the inward jokes. I'm in on it. Not only do I not care, I encourage the inward joke specifically directed towards black men because I always wanted to be an upper middle class and rich white woman. So him letting me in on the inward jokes makes me feel like I'm in there. I'm accepted. They don't see me any different than a racist white woman. We have to be honest that the pedestal that elite white men put white women on, women of color wanted to be on that pedestal also. It's not that women of color don't understand social dominance order. Many of them do understand the concept and they revel in it. Wait, so you mean I'm not really oppressed as much as the men of my group? I'm more likely to be accepted in, even if it is as the side chick, compared to men of my group? Oh, yeah, right? I'll sign up for that. You think if Crystalline Karazin's dude didn't say he's an inward lover out loud, you think she would have still been with that guy? He could have said that to her face. She would let him slide saying that to her. It just was a little, just a smidge too embarrassing that he said that out loud for everyone to see. But as you can see with this young lady, she don't care. Her and her white man are out here talking real crazy and reckless about black men. And like I said, it you know the ahistoricism of people. So let me get this right. We watched Crystalline Carrison for almost, well, it's actually 2 decades, but speak real reckless about black men while being married to a white man and him knowing that's the content she puts out. Now, he wasn't so involved, but him knowing and maybe in the background encouraging that content and that marriage dissolved. How do people think they're going to be married to a man? Oh, let me say that better. How do women, black women, think you're going to be married to a white man who encourages you to speak this foul about black men because of whatever he got going on mentally and psychologically? Because he needs to know that you think as ill of black men, if not worse, than he does. And so he encourages you to talk crazy about black men, an extension about black people. And you think your relationship is going to be fine and dandy for how long? Right? You think you're how long do you think you can live in a relationship in a marriage where both of you and your unifying ideal is that black men ain't ish, right? How long do you think you can do that? Right? So we took it a step above. Now we're no longer in the Crystalline Karazin territory where your white husband or your white boyfriend knows you make sexist content against black men and you use your relationship with this white spouse or non-black spouse as the ideal for other black women to aspire to. We're not even in that realm anymore. Now we're in the realm of bringing the white man on to talk crazy about black men with you. And how long you think this relationship is supposed to last? Not saying it won't. I'm just saying you. So we're saying is that you can be a black woman who's racist yourself against black men and be married to a white man who's racist against black people. You think you're slick just because you're a black woman who's racist against black people, but directs much of their angst towards black men, and you think your relationship is going to be healthy? I forgot it's a white man. The relationship doesn't have to be healthy. He's white. He could be toxic, right? He's a white man. He can be toxic. right? And Indigo Flow says, and they try to tell us the manhood we want to live out is white, hetero, whatever, whatever. No, we just want to be men. Now them exactly. So once again, it goes back to the trope of like feminist, angry feminist, men ain't-ish feminist, but yet she has a paymaster husband at home. She's a stay-at-home mom, and her husband is paying all the bills and got her living life luxurious and nice. We have to be honest with people, particularly women, particularly black women, about how much of this is class warfare. Elite women want to be elite women, aspirational women, particularly black women, who the only thing they have in likeness with you is the skin color. They're your class enemy. Maybe you don't want to be white, but she want to be white. And the only thing she can unify you with her on is black men ain't-ish. Right? That's the one thing she can unify you with her on. So she will sell out into the sunset with her white husband for however long that relationship lasts. And she will live that luxe life, and she will send her kids to a really good public school, if not a private school. And she will encourage you to be insulting to men, to be belittling to men, particularly black men. And she will have her children in wedlock. She will stay married for 15 years at least, 20 years to her white spouse or even to a black spouse, while she encourages you to be on a black men ain't-ish thing. As evidenced by the chart I put out about which women are having children in wedlock. And it was college educated women. Those same college educated feminist women turn around and tell women how you don't need men, let's bring back, we don't need these Negroes, feminism, etc., etc. And they turn around and marry men and have children with men in wedlock. They tell you to bring back, we don't need these Negroes, feminism. Right? They're rubbing elbows with white guys, and every once in a purple moon, once in a blue moon, one of those white guys and her will hit it off, and they'll have sex, and they'll have sex long enough to be in a relationship, and be in a relationship long enough for him to propose or for her to propose. Shout out to the sister from Queen and Slim. Right? And they'll go out and hold on to the white man for dear life. Meanwhile, you are now rubbing elbows with white guys. The white guys you do rub elbows with are bums, and they telling you to date out and marry out. They're telling you to expand your options, and you're from a BFE nowhere part of the state, and the white guys around you are losers, but they telling you to date out. They telling you black men ain't-ish, and you're better off single. Meanwhile, you drive off of the side of you drive into a ditch in the snow, and you have no man to call. You got to call the authorities. Okay, the authorities come, they help you, they take your car out the ditch, they send you on your way, cool. You go back home to no man to console you. To no man to hug up on you. To no man to rub your feet. To no man to make you something to drink. Because Kim Foster said, let's bring back, we don't need these Negroes, feminism, that part. Because Chrissy told you to expand your options. Because Yanni told you what have black men built. Because Paris told you what have black men built. And these makers. Yeah. That young lady, don't worry. That young lady, she probably called the authorities. They came, they got her out of the ditch. They sent her on her way. She's probably perfectly okay. And she probably still has no man. No dude to hug up on her, no dude to kiss up on her, no dude to make her feel better by doing a little, That's what makes what these people engage in so heinous, because it is class warfare. It's women with money, women with a bit of status or some bit of notoriety, at least on social media, telling other women who need men, who need black men, that they don't need black men. Or if a black man is not operating at the highest level, yeah, you don't need him. You shouldn't even want him. And thank you, Indigo Flow. And Indigo Flow says, we don't need massa. A lot of them feel some type of way that they're not Miss Ann, though. Pretty much. I've said that before, right? For many women of color, that's the goal. That's the gold standard. To be the white woman, the upper middle class and rich white woman. And what's beautiful about the divestors and how they've been speaking for the better part of half a decade or so, the swirlers also, is that they've said it. That's the beautiful. We don't even have to imply it. They've said it. When they say, what have black men built? When they say black men are conquered, right? When they speak about money, when they speak about business, they've said it. Oh, okay. I'll check that out. And K Dot says, and y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, right? And K Dot says, if you look at Dennis Sperling's community post real quick, he knows the name of the racist white man's channel. And there you go. I mean, didn't a few months ago we covered the overweight, messed up teeth white dude that looked like he was a trucker with the dark skin sister that she definitely on her looks level looked better than him, but she wasn't a looker herself. Didn't we just cover the story where she was encouraging, she told him not to pick up some black guy that was on the side of the road or that to help him? Didn't we just cover that story a couple months ago? Well, not a couple, but a few months ago. We have to be honest. These angry, bitter black women are entering relationships with white dudes and then turning that white dude's racism up from 10 to 11. Think about what world you're living in, where a white dude already has negative concepts about black people, black men, and a black woman is now in a relationship with him and then turns that up from 8 or 9 to 10, 11, 12. Breaks the damn knob, right? She's so mad, she's so angry, she's so resentful about how she wasn't treated or was treated by black men and boys, that she wasn't sought after, or she wasn't treated like in their mind like the pretty light skinned woman, right? That they actually encourage white men to say racist things. I would like to direct you to the clubhouse video, right? Where the black women were speaking to a supposed white cop and encouraging him to say racist things. And then the other video where the black women once again on Clubhouse speaking about how turned on they are by seeing white racist cops ruffle up, right? Black men. They are sexually turned on by seeing white cops regulate black men. That's the world we live in. Kim Foster, mum's the word. Chrissy trying to play damage control. Not telling those women what they're saying is wrong, saying they're being too loud. Yikes. Right? So we're going to continue to follow these people. We're going to continue to follow them. We're going to continue to listen to them so that everyone knows why the black community is where it is, so that we could stop playing like black men are out here doing the worst things to black women. Black men are leaving black women destitute. Black men. No, we can be honest that on the other side is this. See, everyone keep on talking about the desperate black dudes that's chasing after white women all over the place. That's the trope of America, right? Black men that the he doesn't know he's successful. He doesn't feel like he's accomplished. He doesn't feel like he's done anything on planet Earth for anyone until he has bedded a white woman, right? That's the trope of America. That's not just a black woman thing. That's America, right? Black men don't truly feel human until they've bedded a white woman. Meanwhile, there's black women like this that being in a relationship with, having sex with white men is still not good enough. They need white racist men. They need white men who hate black men just as much as she does. Right? And these broken black women are allowed to walk around the world like the issue is black men. Right? If it wasn't for the black manosphere, these people would they would go unacknowledged. They go unacknowledged. If it wasn't for the black manosphere, no one would say anything about your black female professor that we know hates black men. No one would say anything about your black news anchors that you know hate black men. Your black female police chiefs that you know hates black men. Your senior writers from the Root that you know hate black men. Yikes. If it wasn't for the black manosphere, no one would say anything about black congresswomen threatening black men. Right? If it wasn't for the black manosphere, you wouldn't have people like Mr. Z straight up saying to FD Signifier, yeah, you said you're under the ideological tent with Kim Foster, and yet she's saying, let's bring back We Don't Need These Negroes feminism, when you, FD, know black women, damn, they need men, they need black men. See, if it wasn't for the black manosphere, all of that stuff would go unaddressed. Right? So I hear the brother FD Signifier saying, yeah, we're speaking to these people now. And yeah, like I said, I get where the brothers in the black manosphere are coming from, because if it wasn't for us, would y'all ever have said anything to these black feminists? You could say, oh, it's a bad take of what is it, boss girl feminism, and yeah, no. Y'all were never going to say anything to those women. Y'all were never going to say anything to them. Literally in writing studios, writing up the bigger, long character for a movie about Harriet Tubman. Literally in writing studios, writing in a black man who looks a white slaver in the face and says, I'm going to take whatever money, if I capture this woman, I'm going to spend it on white whores. And he goes around the movie getting more and more amped to kill a black woman so that he could have sex with white women. Y'all let people that think like that get into Hollywood. Y'all were never going to check that, ever. As a matter of fact, y'all were going to make it, what y'all have been doing, you were going to make excuses for why that's okay and why you know well that black men are like that. Black men will kill black women for a white woman. I mean, Ashley Acuna from the Grapevine, she didn't say that exactly like that, but a black man is always going to defend a white woman from a black woman. Yeah, she said that though. You want to know what black feminism look like? Just watch the Grapevine. Everybody come and please. Black men, black women, everybody's just talking crazy about black men on various levels. Every once in a while, they throw you a bone, right? And so the last thing I wanted to touch on before I bring y'all up, and be mindful, Mr. Z's battery is already at 72%. So I'm gonna try to get this last part out in the next 5 or so%. So we could, yeah, maybe 65%, and then we gotta make it quick, fast, and hurry. Okay. Let's talk about white men, white elders, and kind of what's going on over there, right? So white young men are hurting. They're not hurting like black young men are hurting, but they're hurting, right? Birth rate going through the floor, less sex, not going to college and university, not really trying to be on the fast track to any career field worth a damn. Is it all white men? Of course not. Is it most? Probably not. Is it a significant minority that still could affect society? Yes. So I would like to say to white men, welcome to hell, number one. Number two, be prepared to be gaslit. Number three, haha. Number four, see if you would have addressed it when this was primarily happening to black men, then it wouldn't be happening to you and your sons. Number five, tell Destiny and them to shut the hell up. Number six, tell this racist white dude with the black wife to shut the hell up. Number six, that's the reason why it's happening to you, because you didn't check it when these guys were doing and saying this awful stuff about black men, and how the reason why black men are on the socioeconomic bottom is because black men refuse to build, and it's not about the environment and take personal responsibility, and bootstraps and bootstraps and more bootstraps, and it's not capitalism, and it's not feminism, and it's not angry mothers, and it's not that your mother turned you against your father, and blah blah blah, etc., etc. And now you're here, right? It's not the angry feminist environment, right? And now you're here, right? So now that your elders, the Dave Ramseys of the world, the Jordan Petersons of the world, are telling you to lift yourself up by your bootstraps, all I have to say is ha 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 ha. Dear chronic undead, ha 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 ha. Racist ass. Huh? You think you're gonna fix this without fixing race also? Ha ha ha. Huh? See, you and your elders watched this happen to black men and boys. You thought it was funny. Y'all thought it was funny watching LaQuisha curse out black men in the middle of the milk aisle in your local grocery store. You thought it was funny. You thought it was funny watching black women all over news media speak about how black men are not on their level and they're struggling to find black men to marry. You thought it was funny. You thought it was funny watching black women go on talk shows all through the 90s saying that black men are secretly gay. You thought it was funny. You thought it was funny watching black women after black women drag on black man after black man on some fake paternity fraud crap. You thought it was funny, right? You thought it was funny. and now it's happening to you and you don't know what to do with yourself, right? Y'all still don't understand, or you do understand, you just think it's not going to happen to you even more. Like I said, the black racist women with their white racist husbands, you don't get what's going on there, right? And thank you, K. Dot. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out right at the end of the stream, right? Thank you very much. So yeah, white men. See, you thought it was funny when they said what black men first fired, last hired, first fired. It was funny. It was funny watching black men live precarious lives, right? It was funny. It was funny watching movies like Something New, where black men were shown to be sketchy, or the ones that were, buttoned up. There was still something weird about them, right? And she opened up her options to a white dude, and he touched her soul in a way black men couldn't, right? It's funny, right? Right? You find that type when Hillary Clinton refers to black men as super predators. It's funny. Now, when she turn around and refers to white conservatives as deplorables, oh, no, now y'all got an issue. But when she called black men super predators, y'all have nothing to say. They got to be bought down the heel. Oh, not even, no, sorry. It's not that you didn't have anything to say. You thought it was funny. You were clapping it up for her, right? Right? Y'all think Trayvon deserved to get killed by Mark's what's his face? Y'all thought Trayvon deserved to die, right? Hmm. And now your own white male elders are throwing you off the boat. They're throwing you off the boat. White boomers are so selfish and so myopic. They forgot the system that put them in that place in the first place. They just want you to tough it through bootstraps. They forgot the higher taxes on rich. They forgot all the labor rights union stuff. They forgot all about that stuff that put them in the position, because they were raised by what? The silent generation, the greatest generation. Those were the two generations that produced them. All the stuff those people fought for, and the oldest of boomers. So let's say two-ish generations, right? Right. And thank you, Michael Ross. George Zimmerman. I would have forgotten this murderer's name. Child murderer. Let's call him let's call the thing a thing. This child murderer's name. He wasn't convicted, Z. Child murderer. Right? So white boomers are so selfish that it's even affecting their sons. And they're telling their sons to just lift themselves up by their bootstraps. White men, white boys, not so much the boys. White men, though, oh, yeah. particularly for those of you in your 40s and 50s. So you struggling and you're watching your son struggle. Oh, you think you don't deserve that? You in your 60s, you're in your 50s, you're in your late 40s. Oh yeah. Because like I said, it was funny watching black men go through it in the 90s and the 80s. Watching their marriage rate go through the floor, watching their divorce rate go sky high. Particularly for working class black men. Y'all did nothing but put character flaw on them. Well, maybe because you didn't go to college, or maybe because you don't take life seriously, or maybe because you won't pull your pants up and stop listening to that rap crap. Right? Maybe that's the problem. You need to marry your women and raise your children and stay home. Stop putting big rims on your cars and stop trying to buy Jordans and other apparel and stop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now it's happening to you and your sons. Now it's happening to you and your sons. And still not on the level of black boys and men. Now white women are talking to y'all crazy on television. What happened? Huh? Now y'all are not getting married or having children, and you're going sexless, and you don't have any friends. What happened? So no intimacy, no friends, no money, no job worth a damn. Huh. And your women are huddling up on the top 20% man more and more, and their age gap dating even larger now. Now your women, particularly working class women, because the elites are blocked off. Y'all can't do nothing with those elite women. Oh no. Now your women are entering relationships with you with one or two kids from a Chad, from a Giga Chad, and demanding you help them raise that child. Huh? Imagine that. Middle class and working class white women. Huh? Welcome to hell, white men. It could have not been like this if your ancestors and your forefathers stayed out of black men's way, not try to trip black men up, not try to sabotage black men, right? Could have been better for you. But now here you are. If if working class white men would have had the foresight to realize that this was going to happen to them also, if poor white men who it was already happening to would have had the foresight to know it would have been worse for them, if they allowed this to get worse for black men, then you wouldn't be here. If white society, particularly working class and poor white men, understood that black men are the canary in the coal mine and you can't guard against this at a certain point, then maybe you wouldn't be here, right? But now you're here. Welcome to hell, right? And Leon says, and thank you for the super chat. Leon says, age gap dating, which older feminists fought against because they don't have access. Exactly. Exactly. And this is something that Ed has spoken about. They want to make these weird they're going to push socially because it's not going to get legal, especially because of the Clooney's of the world and the Leonardo DiCaprio's of the world. I know Clooney's married now, but remember, for one time, he just refused to get married, and he was dating younger women too, and that enrages them. That enrages white women, white feminists in particular. That these younger women, 25, 27, 28, are out here dating 45 and 50-year-olds and getting all the resources from the dudes with money. And even the ones that are not ball out of control, they get some type of stability from them. Meanwhile, the women with the money, you are the stability, but your johnny gets dry when you got to spend it. And you definitely not spending it on no man your age. So have fun buying that PlayStation 5 for the young cat to come through, right? And knock the cobwebs out. Right? And let me hurry up. Let me put this link in because we down to 63%. Right? Give me a second, everyone. Give me 1 second. All right. Links in there. All right. Give me a second, everyone. All right. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. I'm in this loud ass car. Right? Y'all let me know if y'all can still hear me, if I'm still coming in clear. Right? Hopefully I am.
Ooh.
What's going on, bro?
Hey, what up? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. We did it wrong. I meant to say. Almost. Shit. How many times I gotta tell you get this shit tuned up, motherfucker?
What's up? What's up? And
Yeah.
what's going on,
What is
better
it?
you?
Delay on my end?
Nothing much. How
Right?
y'all doing, man?
What's good, yo?
Better you sound like he just woke up too.
Hey, I'm the minister of Bedside Baptist. We just got out of service.
That's
Well,
funny.
well, at least did you, please tell me that you all rinse your mouths and wash your face with the holy water, right?
Oh
Of
man,
course, of
Jesus,
course.
cleanse
bedside
your
bout.
air.
That's hysterical. By the way, that is a I could remix that. I got some 12-year-old jokes for that for women. Bedside Baptist. Oh man. Ha, ha.
Oh,
The
yo,
triple
Z,
X just writes itself.
yeah, Z.
Man, I be making
I'm
jokes
gonna
with
say
my
this.
girl all the time. Real quick, Neiman. I make jokes with my girl all the time. And she'll look at me. I'm like, babe, you were never a 12-year-old boy. You don't understand. We could turn anything into a your mom joke or anything into a sexual joke or make any type of sexual innuendo. I was like, you weren't a boy hitting puberty. You don't understand how we could turn anything into one of those type of jokes. Anything. She just looks
Yeah,
at me
don't
like,
Facts.
get me started.
right?
Don't get me started. I mean, I'm gonna just. I mean, I remember what was it like? We were, if anybody jumped the gun or had a or just jumped the gun on something or conclude or jumped to conclusions,
Hmm.
we just look at that motherfucker and say premature ejaculation.
God damn.
Two pump
I'm
jump.
telling you, man.
Oh shit! I'll fuck with some people's minds. I'll look at them and say, motherfucker, you came out short like an Asian porn star's erection on that one. You ain't hit nothing.
God damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
Hey,
telling you,
hey,
like,
hey, hey, hey! You don't want to play those jokes with me. I will go. I will go dirty and low down. Shit.
telling you that it would, yeah, yeah. And it's funny because, like, 12, most dudes ain't smashing yet, but we still making all the jokes. 12, 13, 14, we still making all the jokes. 11, we still making all the jokes, and it's hysterical, right?
Nah, I'm
Man. I
convinced.
mean,
Go ahead, better. Go ahead.
I'm
go
convinced
ahead,
what it
buddy.
was
Mhm.
like back in the day. our folks had the premium channels like late night HBO and Skinamax and all that.
Oh,
Oh man. So we were sneaking and watching it, and then we came in with some jokes.
Oh yeah, volume on one, literally
Right?
one.
Hey, nothing in the world is scarier than a parent walking in the middle of a moan. Nigga, your heart will
Oh
drop to your feet. Oh.
did you ever put it on mute? That's how I did. Did you ever put it on mute? That's how it worked.
Yeah, but like sometimes you just want to hear a little something, and then
That's why this is why also
oh man.
this is why I'm grateful that we have things like tablets and phones, and you have like
Hmm.
Bluetooth. You don't have to worry about anybody hearing any moaning. Just you in your room.
Oh yeah, no, these kids got it so made.
they
It's
spoiled,
actually a
man.
bad thing. It's actually in a weird way, it's a bad thing because you have internet adult content and you can listen to it on your headphones. You see what I'm saying? And it's on your phone. It's on your phone, easily accessible. Like that. That just killed that. Yeah. That's just different. Yeah. That is a
Better
go ahead.
you look on the bright
Yeah.
side. At least you live in your own apartment with nobody because you don't have to worry about living at your mama's house because you'll probably end up like Jody and Baby Boy. Walk in the kitchen. "Ugh, what the hell you doing up here? What are you thinking? Want some pancakes?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I couldn't have been that way, man. Like Pops, he
Hmm.
gave all of us an ultimatum. He was like, if you're a boy, 18, either in the military or college. College gets you a couple more years. Once you get that
Hmm.
degree, though, you on your own.
Right.
That didn't work well. That's weird because I grew up in Africa, so
Hmm.
you don't leave the house until the day you get married. But
Yeah,
then
it's
again,
just
Oh,
sometimes
what's interesting. I
in
think
most
American culture is
in
going to
most
force to
countries,
change. American
I mean,
culture is going to be
I'll give you an
forced to
example.
change, though. Nina.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. In most European countries,
mhm.
you don't leave the house until the day you get married. I mean, here in Scandinavia, however, most people they leave the house, but when they leave the house, it's either they're usually like sharing apartments with somebody,
Hmm.
or they cohabitating with someone. I
Yeah.
mean, most of the people I know, when they left home at 18, they already had a girlfriend. They already had a girlfriend, like a high school sweetheart or something like that.
Yeah,
And when they moved out together and they found an apartment.
I think
And
that's
even if you
smart.
broke up, it didn't matter. They just cohabitate that way. We had roommates.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's very
I
smart.
mean,
it is. I mean,
I
like
know.
I don't think we're in the same world anymore. Real quick, Nima, I don't think we're in the same world where because the move out at 18, go buy a little roach ass apartment and like slowly climb your way up if you didn't go to college or the military, or even if you go to the military, particularly if you go to college, you graduate and then you never have to move back in with your parents, and you get a roommate and y'all make it work, and yeah, you might have to eat ramen noodles every night, but you make it work. We don't live in that world anymore. Not for the majority, right? And I think that world
Uh-huh.
that world of independence in your late teens, in your early 20s, and you really don't need your parents like that anymore. It's possible
Yeah.
for some, but I don't think we live in that world anymore. I think that was a certain window where you could live that type of American dream. I don't know if we live in the world where you can have single family homes, your children are moving out at 18, 19, maybe even 17, and they never really have to move back in. Yeah, I don't know
You
if
know
we live
what?
in that. Go ahead.
You know what
Here's the
though?
thing,
I'm
though.
sorry.
Hmm.
I just want to say this. Here's the problem, though, because we're
Hmm.
forgetting something. Our generation, us millennials, especially those who were born like after 85 and whatnot.
Hmm.
After 9/11, a lot of you did enlist. There was that high probability they were going to deploy you over to Afghanistan and Iraq. So how
Yeah.
many? So how many of them came home all kinds of fucked up?
Yeah.
I mean, they finally just passed a bill where they were going to give disabled veterans, those who were affected by the pit burns, instead of burying the garbage, they were burning the garbage, the waste and everything, and people just
Mm.
inhaled the fumes and got affected. They just passed a bill just to have that shit, have them get, some some kind of compensation and healthcare provision for that shit.
Yeah,
So
they
how
were
many
real
guys
slow
who
to
went to
that.
the military?
Yeah.
Yeah, Oh man, what's his name? The comedian John Stewart, who's been a big advocate for that.
Yeah.
He put what's his face? Ted Cruz, who's a fucking sociopath, by the way, folks. I'm not bullshitting.
Yeah.
He is a sociopath. You look
He
at his
really is
faces.
cringy.
He is an antisocial. He's an ASPD for real. That's a cluster B for
You know,
folks. So
this is a.
he
Oh,
was
sorry.
like he was the biggest hindrance to that. Him and certain Republicans,
Mhm.
and he lied about it, and then Stewart got on his show, which is called The Problem With. He really just put it on blast, put them on fucking blast about it. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's actually a
Sorry,
pretty
So
good
this,
show, that Jon Stewart show. He hits a lot of good topics.
Mhm.
You know,
Hey, there's a podcast too. Have you guys listened to
Oh
the
yeah,
podcast?
yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead. But Kevin C and then Better You, because I know Better You wanted to say something also.
No, it was just a side tangent. I was just gonna say, like, with Ted Cruz,
Mhm.
I've heard this joke a few times, but if you know about the DB Cooper skyjacking in that sketch, put that
yeah.
sketch side by side with Ted Cruz.
I have to check that. I'm lost on this one.
You think he might?
Well,
You
yeah.
think
Wait,
he
hold on
might
a
be?
second.
You think he might be?
Wait,
a
hold
descendant
on
of
a
DB
second.
Cooper?
Wait,
Better
name
You,
it.
will you mute your
Let
mouth?
Kevin C. Let Kevin C. learn because
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
yeah. Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
trying to talk over anybody.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So men get a little bit of latitude if you're in
Mhm.
college and you're not, and you're living with your parents. If
Mhm.
you're capable of actually doing that, you can attend college, and then but there comes a time where you got to get out, and you got to get out fast. Especially
Yep.
the single mother raised boys.
Mhm.
If they're in college, that's a good thing because that means they're trying to get away from their mother a little bit.
Mhm.
And then once they get, and I tell these young men, especially the ones who don't have a father, hey, as soon as you're done, you gotta get away from your mother, man. You
Scoot.
gotta get around, yeah,
Yeah. Get out of here.
you gotta get around other men, and
Mhm.
you're not gonna get any respect from other men as long as you're hanging around women and you're influenced by them heavily, because
Yeah.
you're gonna move, you're gonna talk, you're gonna execute and think in a way that really
Mhm.
supports women versus when you run into a masculine, functional, productive black man or man, period, he's gonna look at you like you're crazy. You're like, what? You
Yep.
still living with your mother? Really?
Mhm.
And then there's a women aspect to it as well. But now we understand there's some financial stuff that might be associated with that. But
Mhm.
still, you gotta the first chance you need, the first chance you can get out, get away from those women. Go
Yep.
interact with
Yeah.
men because that's the only way you develop as a man. And
This is a fact.
I'm sorry I missed it. How is it?
Oh man, so look, everybody knows how to do this now.
Yeah,
I'm both happy and threatened because but I'm gonna have to copyright my shit. No, I'm playing. But
yeah.
no,
So,
I'm actually good.
it's a unique intro. It's a unique intro. And
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
and I'll just say one other thing, and because I know my wife she's making breakfast, and I know she's gonna call me in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So that thing about man, black men really seriously are on their own, bro. We really are
Yeah,
out here on an island by
yeah,
ourselves. Even when we
yeah.
try to link up with other people who are empathetic and sympathetic, and might have some level of compassion. Like, look, I see what you guys are going through. Y'all are
Mm-hmm.
going through it. But as a collective, though, anybody, I call them, I just say non-black. You
Yeah.
know, that's what I just call them. I just say non-black. Man, the collective, the larger collective. There's no empathy, no sympathy. It's hey,
Yep.
all we get the bootstrap speech, but we're the only ones doing the bootstraps. We're the only
Right.
Yeah.
ones doing the bootstrapping.
Exactly.
Everybody else gets the grants, the loans, the handouts, the settlements, the government
Mm-hmm.
assistance, the subsidies, all that other stuff. I mean, everything. We are literally the only group, and we're the only group that can actually make that claim. And
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be honest with you, in a lot of ways, it's a good thing, but it's also a detriment because what people see is, well, you know what? I hear what you guys are complaining about, and I see what you're going through, but still, you're here, man. So hey, you getting it done, bro. So what are you talking about?
We don't even get the grace though. Like I'm gonna move out the way in 1 second. Better. We don't even get the grace, even if it's not the full on tangibles. Even if people give you grace, like what white men are getting right now is a bit of grace. Okay, what's going on socially, societally that's causing so many men to not want to work, to not attend college and university? They're getting at least they're having their stuff investigated, right? Turned over. Okay, what's going on? Why are so many? When they say men, let's be honest, white men. Why are so many men dropping out of the system? And they know what the answer is, but they really want to pin it down and be like, okay, it is the feminist stuff. Okay, we gotta have to scale that back a bit. right? We're gonna have to scale back a particular brand of capitalism a little bit, right? And when they finally come to that conclusion, which they already know, let's be honest, um, that's gonna garner some support, right, from men in general, because the rest of us are gonna have to hang on to the coattails of white dudes. But just like you were saying, all everybody else gets handouts and set asides. Black men get told to pull yourself up by your bootstrap. When things negatively affect other groups, we look at what systemically could be the issue. When things negatively happen to black men, it's a character flaw, right? And I'm over that. But go ahead, better you.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, to kind of piggyback off of what you and Mr. Kevin was saying, the good and the bad of it is, one, I feel that those that come up and succeed under these conditions, I feel it's kind of like a Spartan thing. Like, we come out on the other side, and those of us who make it, we're far stronger than those from a lot of other people groups, because that lack of assistance and whatnot, it fosters a certain independence where you aren't connected to those systems and nobody can pull your strings and silence you and shut you up in a lot of senses. Conversely, though, it's essentially black excellence or die. And
Ain't no middle ground.
nah, ain't no middle ground, because real talk, like, to fall into that middle ground, especially when there's no net, and to be completely on your own as a single person, like, I mean, I give a good example. I got fired on my birthday from one job. It was like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And thank God I actually hit a year, so I got a severance. But it's like, if it was for that severance, I would have had nothing, been asked out. It was time to pay rent, everything.
Was it a first hired, last? Was it a last hired, first fired type of thing?
Oh, they completely, they downsized and centralized the reporting department. So it was, I worked for a company called Wild, a great company. It's just every site had their own reporting team, and what they did was they centralized it. So they basically cut it down from like a group of 30 down to a group of maybe about 5 or 6.
Woo! 24, 25 people all gone, just like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had that, though. But you know what, though? I'm more inclined, because of what I know that's going on, I'm more inclined to help a black man who basically is productive and kind of hit a rough patch. But I'm more inclined to look out for him, as long as he's, hey, look, you got to get back out there. This is not a freebie, but I know what you are. I know what you're capable of. Just get back there and get after it. But I'm willing to kind of give you a cushion here.
Yeah.
Only because I know that no one else is going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do it. But I mean, it helps if I know you. And then, you got some, and I know your history and your work ethic and what you're really trying to do, and understand the circumstances as to how you came into the situation that you're in. But, I actually was on a plane with a dude, and he was telling me that he literally tried. I don't even know where to find the social welfare or services office, but he went down there to try to get some help because he was struggling. He was raised by a single mother, didn't know his father, linked up with his father after graduation. His father couldn't really help him out, and he found himself living on the street. And he, begged and pleaded for them to help them out, for help. And they threw him a bone after like 3 or 4 months of him kind of scrounging and scraping and doing side whatever. They threw him a bone, but they only gave him like $73 or something like that. It still wasn't even nothing for the whole month. $73. Now remember, women get houses, subsidies, Medicare, Medicaid. They get stuff for the kids. They get all kinds of cards and everything else, and including Obama phone, right? They get that dude $73 and said, "This is the best we can do for you," and they didn't even want to do that.
I think we have to have because of what Kevin just said and what Better you just said. We live in an advanced economy. If we are to let a lot of these systems go, all this anti-patriarchy talk and whatever, we have to be honest about the fact that men are also reliant on the system. And so when they hit a rough patch, you don't get to tell them, pull yourselves up by the bootstrap. No, you can't have both. And what it looks like is people want individualism from men, patriarchy from men, but they want the patriarchy without the patriarchs. They want system uplift and upkeep without a sense of ownership of it. Like this, it just doesn't work. So we're gonna
Yeah.
leave men out there and boys out there to fend for themselves while we bolster the girls and the women and direct our funds and assets towards them, right? The women and the children, understandable. But then when enough men are hurting, we're just gonna what continue to lecture them on some Jordan Peterson thing, right? Like this, how does this work? Because for $73, first of all, after 4 months, $73,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we and that's
Never
another
enough.
reason why I would argue we see way more homeless men than homeless women, because there's a certain level of empathy and sympathy for the women, because we all have that out of control cousin, female cousin.
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
all have that maybe that sister or that aunt, and she'd be bouncing from person house, right? Even in her adult age, her kids are grown. Person's house to person. That she's with a niece here, she's with a son or daughter over there. Then she's with a sister over here. Then she's with a brother over there. She always has something. Meanwhile, your uncle been on the streets for 5 years,
Yeah.
for 6 years, for 7 years, because we bolster the women. We don't. But when it comes to men, we still have this archaic notion of, well, that he just get it how he live, he'll just get it, he out there, that's what he decided to do, right? And what I'm saying is, I get it, and I somewhat agree, but what I'm saying is, if they want us to drop this talk of patriarchy and male leadership and all of that, then you're gonna have to put men on the system's tit also. Then it's either one or the other. Either men are
collective
men or they're not.
And this is the other part of that too.
Hmm.
The patriarchy benefits those who are within it, and it's
Yes.
not this oppressive structure that they love to. Oh, it's just some guy calling the shots at the top. Nah, real talk. My grandfather was a patriarch. He ran the
Hmm.
family. E- Every single one of his daughters, all the way down to my cousins, my second, third cousins, we all benefited from him leading the family because
Hmm.
his resources, his connections was able to get people into opportunities that they wouldn't have gotten into otherwise.
Yeah.
And that's the
Yeah.
other side of it that needs to be talked about. Because
Yeah.
real talk, a few times certain situations happen with
Hmm.
my cousins growing up,
Hmm.
and before he passed, I saw it. Like, cuz came home, like, yo, he just had a baby. He got the wife. They just married maybe like a year. He lost his job. Grandpa was like, yo, all right, what happened? Cool. Wait right here. He made a phone call. He was like, hey, look, put your best stuff on. Go here tomorrow. Had a job
Man.
paying more than it was before. So it's one of those things where we got to have an honest conversation about societies and structures, because the
Hmm.
inverse of that is a structure. If you want to talk matrilineal, it tends to be more, at least from my anecdotal observation, it tends to be more of a hoarding culture when you give a
Hmm.
lot of resources to a woman. Whereas with men, men tend to spread it around a little bit. Not to say that they don't, they're just Johnny Appleseed with everything, but
Hmm.
men tend to spread around those opportunities and they try to benefit those around them. Whereas with those women, and
Hmm.
they tend to bolster themselves, hoard it for themselves. And the most important thing is they typically don't have offspring.
And how do you incentivize the men to even create the bounty for the women to hoard in the first place? That's what I always say. How are we going to incentivize the men before we? Okay, let's not even talk the race stuff right now. How are we going to incentivize the young men to do anything? You're telling them your sister's smarter than you, she's better than you, and if you outcompete her, you're a sexist monster. So how, like, what incentive have you given her? First of all, you already said, hey, only an elite dude should really be getting some vagina anyway. And if you're lucky if you're not part of these group of men, right? That's number one. Number two, you outcompete the women. There's something wrong with you, right? You call them out for their bad behavior. There's something sexist about you. Um, like all of these kind of unwritten rules about how you engage with women that kind of de-incentivize men, because especially the fact that you put the women in the workforce with them in the first place. So you're asking the men to walk around with their hand behind their back and compete
You
with their
expect
hands
a
behind their back,
man.
especially in the
You
presence of women. But go ahead.
what it is basically. Oh, by the way, fellas, regarding the matrilineal societies, first of all, I don't come from one. I come from a patrilineal one. If there is one tribe where I'm from, they are a matriarchy and a matrilineal society. and the women hold each other collectively accountable because they understand that there is no hoarding because they have to learn to work together. And then at the end of the men still have a role in this. I mean, ancient Nubia was a matrilineal society one
Mm-hmm.
way, but
Mm-hmm.
the women and the men have their roles. They understand that in order for it to function, you're going to have to learn to hold each other accountable. There's collective accountability. Even the women knew their place in their role, and they were not going to try to just hoard like that because anyone who got hoarded, who tried to hoard, understood that she was going to get ostracized by the collective. Now, Z, if you might remember H. Rap Brown's old speech about collectivism versus individualism.
Yeah, but I only once. Yeah. Go ahead.
All
Go ahead.
right.
Yeah, I remember that. Like,
Now,
yeah.
understand it is selective. Understand when it comes to the two races, black and white,
Mm-hmm.
it is very selective when it comes to collectivism and individualism. Anything good, no, so anything a white person does individually, it's his
I just
individually. Anything,
Mm-hmm.
hold it. Anything
I
he
just
does
wanted
wrong, hold on.
Give it. Leon. Let him land real quick, and then Leon.
Anything he does wrong, it does not reflect the collective.
Mm-hmm.
Black people, however,
Yep.
anything
Yep.
I
Yeah. Yeah. I
do
remember this.
wrong,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
anything I do wrong, it's going to be a collective punishment, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how in groups and out groups work. So you understand how selective they are when it
Yep.
comes to
Yep.
individuality and collectivism. Then again,
I
black
would like
people
to
can
direct
never
y'all to
be
O.J. Simpson case. Go ahead.
that we can never be seen as collective. We can never be seen as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have to see me as an individual, that means you have to see me as a human being. You have to understand that I have a name. I'm a person. I have certain tastes. You cannot. But if you look at me as part of a collective, that means you can just try to pigeonhole me into a group of stereotypes and tropes and shit like that.
Yep.
That's
Which is
what
the
they don't
point.
want. That's what's the point I'm trying to get at.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I do, if and if they want us to do these great things, they understand that we have to be like complete outliers because like Patrice O'Neill said, he said, only time racism will end, and this was a joke, he said, racism will end when a mediocre black man can rise to excellence.
Yeah.
Because with them, it's with us, it's absolute. Either we're bust or we're very exceptional. That's
Yeah.
what the thing was with Obama. He
Well,
had
yeah.
to
That's
be
what Better You was
exceptional.
speaking to. Yeah. Yeah. That's what Better You was speaking to. But all right. Go ahead, Leon.
I just wanted to keep it short.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they just want us back on the plantation. And
Mm-hmm.
when I look at the system, I don't think they care about the outcome of black guys because black women are going to continue having kids with a population of poor guys anyway.
Mm.
Um, the other part is I think I already talked to MTR about FD Signifier, and I showed him some clips of him saying his name, and he looks at him as a higher up in the manosphere. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been in MTR's Discord for like 3 years,
Okay.
and I say, yo, don't talk to him or engage with him. I'm like, you're not on the pro black stuff, so
Mm.
don't do it. It's not gonna help you in any type of way.
Too
When
late.
it comes to the what's up,
No, I
what's
said
up?
too late. I already spoke to him. No, I'm saying about
You
FD
spoke to who?
Signifier. I already spoke to FD Signifier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But he wants it with MTR. I already know
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
I watch FD for 2.5 years, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an issue with his content. My biggest issue is kind of the conversation he had with you. My thing is I would like this conversation to stop,
Mm-hmm.
but the only way you can really get it to stop if you use your intersectional feminists and women feminists and have them put the women in their place,
Yep.
or even your white leftists and all the people that you put on or put you on, and attack these ladies and stop them using their rhetoric. And until then, it's like this shit will continue. And he says some of these women have 15 followers. No, they have a lot.
Yeah.
The views on the videos
Yep.
is a whole lot, you know. So I just look at that as cap. And that's all I'm really looking from FD Signifier to do
I
that.
just want them to be honest with the women. I want Kim Foster, FD Signifier to be honest with the women about what's not going to come with egalitarianism. If y'all drop patriarchy, What's not, the men are not going to be incentivized to do anything. We all rushed the store for toilet paper during COVID. You getting this elbow to the face just like the dudes would. There ain't no, oh, you and okay, you know what? I'll make do. I'm a single man. I know you have kids. Nope. Right? And it's gonna be harsh. It's gonna be harsh. There's no, oh, that's a woman driving in. Let me let her go. Right? We had to always thought, oh, oh, she got the baby on board sticker on her car. I'm gonna let her go. Nope. Oh, that's what, and it's gonna get even for elders. Right? Look how we act when we see a young man running and he almost knocked down an elder or something. We'll just keep on walking. Ain't nothing to say to him. Nope.
Yeah, you know what? That's one of the issues that I have. Is that I know at one point I'm going to be I've seen people get old and they kind of
Hmm.
wither away and eventually
Yep.
pass away. It's unfortunate, but I mean, boy, you need help. That's why I'm gonna play
Yes.
that. See, black men are okay. So, well, let's just say the good black men are really good people. We
Hmm.
don't mess with women, children, or the elderly. We don't do that. We're not going to
Hmm.
violate them in any way because we know at some point that could be us. All
Yep.
right, and it's eventually going to be if you stay healthy. But I'm telling you that you get to a point, and I've seen it play out a couple of times now, that everybody is literally gathering around this one person who needs pretty much assistance in all kinds of places and ways.
Yep. Me
Um,
too. I've seen it.
but bro, there's no sympathy for the men. But and it's very interesting that when women they rail against the patriarchy, especially this black patriarchy, which really has never existed in any form or fashion that's been oppressive to them in any way. It's like they're so scared of it that that and that, okay, well, if black men actually get something like that in place, then no, I just rather. What is that? What is that? Is it okay to somebody to say what's her name?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Bayang, the
Oh yeah,
Bayang
yeah. No, you can't.
philosopher
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Miss Cynthia G. Oh yeah, you definitely
Yeah,
could say
the
her name on my
Bayang
channel.
philosopher Cynthia G.
Bum.
Synthetic,
She's
She literally
bum.
synthetic.
said she'd rather. She literally
Bobby
said,
Bum.
and she has people who believe this.
Correct.
They'd rather live under supremacy than actually follow a black man's lead.
She's a
Like that's
broken black woman. Kev,
yeah,
understand? Cynthia G
yeah,
is so ridiculous. She is beyond broken, and now that she has however many subscribers now, and they
yeah,
encourage her, she's going to ride. She's getting paid off of her toxicity. She's gonna
yeah,
ride this wheel until the wheels fall off. And this speaks to negative liberty, that thing that me and PK talk about all the time. These people, there's money to be made. They will shout from the mountaintops. That they will scream a fire in a movie theater and watch people stampede each other. They will do all type of foolishness just for the money. The worst thing we did was allow this broken black woman with unhealed trauma to have a microphone.
yeah,
Oh my God.
We,
Now, I mean
we,
society. When I say we, I mean society. But yeah,
not
yeah,
black people, because she just came out the blue. But anything,
yeah,
understand, it was Mark Twain who said it best when he said, "If there was money in the truth, people would be speaking it more often." But no, there's more money. There's money to be made when you put out BS that people want to believe.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
the
yeah,
truth is hard
definitely.
to deal with. People prefer a beautiful lie over the ugly truth. Oh, by the way,
Hmm.
a couple things I wanted to mention. I mentioned in the chat, but I guess you wouldn't read. You
Wait,
overlooked
wait,
my
wait,
end
Nemo,
quote.
before you finish, because I wanted to say this too. Something that Kevin was saying before we get too far off of it with getting older. So, you know, I'm with my lady and I get to see her essentially grand aunt, 90 years old, just turned 90, and like what Kevin is saying, they need help. Like you got to drive them around certain places. You got to, and this like cognizant because she reads and she plays scramble and all this other stuff. So like the brain is there, right? But the physical, right? So and you knowing that if you're lucky, that'll be you. If you're lucky to live that long, that'll be you. And you
Hey,
listen to these people talk, and it's like it's it's weird because
don't
they
talk
want to
about his
strip
grandfather.
real quick. They it's like they want to strip the reasons why people do things, but then still have the people do the things. So like you want to strip why men are gentlemen. You want to strip why men look out for women, children, and the elderly. You want to strip those things because of whatever negative thing happened to you or how it didn't work out in your favor without the foresight to understand when you take that away, the men aren't going to do it. You can't shame them into doing it just because. No, systems, the mechanics of things, right? The mechanism, the societal mechanisms that causes people to do the things they do. Now, will you still have people with warm hearts that are kind and caring, and they still look out for women and children? Of course, right? But when you take that away from men in general, the reason why they did these things, right? To be an upstanding citizen, to look out for the elderly, for children, for women. The reason why the men on the Titanic said women and children first. When you take that away, when you hit that iceberg, like I said, it's elbows to the face. It's elbows to the face, and whoever's in front of me could get it, right? And you can't shame those people, because that's something you have to socialize in those young men from boys, from childhood. And and as they become older, they have to have reasons why to still be those type of people. When you take that away, when you tell them, oh yeah, by the way, all the women are going to be huddling up on the top 20% of dudes, unless you're super good looking, and then you can slide in because of how you look, right? It's the money and it's the resources and it's the good looks. Oh, and by the way, society is going to tell you to fight with your hand behind your back when it comes to the women. Oh, and by the way, she can talk to you crazy and you got to eat that, right? When you tell the men that when there is a COVID-19, you're going to have what you had before, even worse, because COVID-19, you still got boomers still alive, you still got older Xers, you know, but a COVID-19 happens in 20, 30 years. Oh, that's elbows to the face for women and girls and children. Let's be honest, and elderly. Everybody will get it because those young men between the ages of about 35 to 17, 15, they don't care what you're talking about. You know what? I'll pause right there. Go ahead, Naaman.
First of all, to pick up what you said about the Titanic, women and children 1st.
Mhm.
I don't know if you might remember James Cameron, the director.
Yeah.
He collaborated with National Geographic on a documentary about the sunken Titanic, and they discovered that only 25% of something like 25 to 50% of the children survived the shipwreck.
Yeah.
While about 50 to 75% of the women survived, which means there were some women who purposely abandoned their children in the boat to save themselves.
Yeah.
Think about that. I mean, there was that one scene where the ship, if you ever saw the movie Titanic, there was that one scene I remember where there's a mother, she's telling us, she's like lulling her children to sleep in their bunk, and it was only a matter of time before she would probably slip out of there. Or like, what's his name? What's his face? Bald-headed dude. He bald-headed dude. Played the villain in him. What's his name? Billy Zane.
Yeah.
Billy Zane. Remember, he grabbed the kid and tried to use her to get on a boat just to get out of there, rescue boat. But anyway, but that tells you a lot about, women only see children as a means a way out.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as this goes, I think the term what term we're looking for is deterrence.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these men, and by the way, this whole thing about men talking about we have a boy crisis. No, you have had a boy crisis for quite some time. It's only now that they're addressing it. When it's at a very alarming, when the numbers are now pressing and alarming, they cannot deny it anymore. They've seen this shit. They saw this coming. They just waited until the very last minute just to raise the alarm about it.
To try to address it. Yeah, too late now.
Too late. Bunch of Johnny and Janie come lately.
Well, it's go ahead.
But it's and all these men are so incentivized. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna go here, go there. But if you hear about guys say go into the trades, here's my question about you guys in the trades, in North America, that is. Mm-hmm. Unlike in Europe, my question is: you guys still have unions? Do they still have unions in some of these trade jobs? What about the safety? Not to mention the benefits are going down. What about workman's comp?
Somebody's background is playing me right now. I don't know whose background is playing me right now, or is that me playing me? Well, that is me. My apologies, everybody. That's me playing me. Hysterical. That's when I put the link in the chat. I had to go to YouTube. All right, y'all continue.
Now I gotta hit you with the bill too. Right. You know you're fucked up, right?
right?
You know you fucked up, right?
But
You know fucked up.
something you were saying. So yes, I agree with you that these people been knowing, and now they have to play damage control because I guess whatever they thought was going to mitigate the fallout, whether it was going to be technology or automation or
They thought it'd blow over.
what's the more babies being born from test tubes or them getting enough women on
Artificial.
board to not air quotes need men. All of those things aren't exactly where they need it to be yet. The technology may be there, but we're not fully there to accept it, or society is not there. Whatever the fallout is. Now they're trying to play damage control to mitigate the situation for the next, let's say, 2-3 decades when they can you know upload everything else that they need to upload. And until then, well, deal with the consequences. Until then,
But here's
and
the
we
thing.
see what's going on with Europe, and we see what's going on with Asia, with so many young people not having children. They're questioning what social programs they're gonna have to implement to hold this up, so that we can pay for the elderly as we get older. And we have way less people, and you got to factor in the baby boomers, right? That's why they call them boomers. How many of them were born compared to how many of them had children, and then how many of those, the children that they did have, right? Boomers didn't have as many children as their parents did, right? On top of the fact that their children aren't having as many children, if children at all. So all of that happening simultaneously, well, you get to where we are now. Oh well, go ahead.
Well, here, look at it this way. How much does it? I mean, in most countries, they don't have the social safety nets like they do, like they should. And how many of those, how many of those how many of those people can afford to have children? And given the cost to raise a child now compared to what it was a generation ago or 2 generations back, think about that. Secondly, when they talk about the whole issue about birth, about especially around the white folks, they complain about low birth rates. But do we notice that they're still gynocentric in their thinking because they still blame the men? They don't hold the women accountable at all. They don't. It's always the men's fault. While at the same time, when we're talking about feminists, there's a certain thing we forget, that certain feminists are also talking about that that men should be subjected to castration en masse, except for a select few as breeders. I remember listening to a clip about that. Oh, Terrell Bentley, what the hell? There's some movies I gotta watch, and then there are movies I refuse to watch. Titanic, Brokeback. Well, you know what? I gotta say something about Brokeback Mountain. I remember a comedian named Mike Britt said this about Brokeback Mountain. The Black History moment. Brokeback Mountain, first motion picture movie, the first movie in motion picture history that didn't get bootlegged in the hood.
Of course. I mean, I remember one of my boys. I still haven't watched it.
Transamerica.
I haven't watched it, but my one of my boys, he ended up watching it with his girlfriend, and he was like, "Bruh, oh boy." And I remember when it came out, I was like, "Yeah, I had no reason. There was no reason, right? There was no reason."
I've seen Milk, and it's not like, hey, whatever.
But we definitely, like I said, if these people want to dismantle whatever male leadership or centering around men as they claim that we do in a society, I don't know where, but if they want, then there will be fallout. You know what it reminds me of? A person that shoves you or that punches you, and they never actually expect you to retaliate. Right? It's like funny. It's like a person that insults you, like I said, shoves you, strikes you, and like you strike them back or you insult them back, and you're even funnier, or you strike them back and you hurt them even more, or whatever. You shove them onto the floor, and then they're like, and you're like, wait a minute, wait, you didn't actually think I was gonna respond? So you thought I was just supposed to eat that? Right?
But see, isn't that black women in a lot of domestic situations? Since it's
Exactly, and exactly that's what I'm saying. So like, exactly, So like, that's what I'm saying. So you have a society and women that thought they could just continuously, incessantly insult men, demean men, ignore men, particularly in the black community, but not neglect boys and men, and then thought that there was not going to be an adequate and appropriate response to that because they thought white daddy was going to play defense for them forever. Well, white daddy got his own issues he got to deal with his women. You know, the women you wish you were, you know? And so like now they got to deal with, right? Now they have to deal with the fallout of so many men saying, "Yeah, I'll just sit on my hands." But and not just in America, right? Like around the developing world, you have more men saying, "Yeah, you know what? If it's not about me, and worse than it's not about me, I can deal with if it's not about me." If y'all really was for this egalitarian thing, y'all really and when I say y'all, I mean whoever the theys are. If this was really a thing, yes, there would be men kicking and screaming about it, of course. But you wouldn't have the pushback you have now. The pushback you have now is mainly because men know it's not going to work out the way y'all saying it is. Men know when it shits the fan, women are going to look to men to solve the issues. Men know that. So we know that this egalitarian thing y'all claiming to be for, which is really patriarchy by feminine specifications, is not a thing. You're still asking men to fight with their hands behind their back. You're still asking men to defer to women. You're still asking men to save and do for women, especially when things get hard. And men aren't signing up for that. They're just not, you know. And go ahead.
Well, first of all, before I say what I gotta say, Mr. Z officially has to change his name to Samuel Blanc, which is the masculine French version of Sam White, because he's basically what's her face from Dear White People.
Right.
Yeah. But basically it's like Patrice O'Neill used to say, women want men to be masculine, they want men to be chivalry, but they want it on their terms. You want us to be independent, but under your control. How does that work? Do you understand the paradox?
You know what I think it is, Neymar? I think we don't appreciate systems anymore. I think the elites, the hyper. That's why I bring up hypercapitalism and late stage capitalism and neoliberalism all the time. All of the isms. I bring that up to say because those people really want to tear up a particular contract between labor and the corporate sector, right? Labor and the entrepreneurial class and the elite class, and they did tear it up. And so go ahead.
The 1980s.
Oh,
with how Reagan.
Wait, Naaman. Let better you go, and then you go, and then I'll go after you.
So I think it's so much deeper than what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it goes back to the myth of personal accountability, and that really got worse under Reagan because now what we have is the rich elites are the ones trying to argue for jockeying for policy while looking at the masses and saying no. This is something that is due to your character. You're not taking advantage of the opportunities that are there. And it creates a reason for government inaction and an expectation for it while government collaborates to screw you over.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to direct people to what I always bring up, the Powell memo. I bring it up all the time. Y'all really need to look up the Powell memo and watch the corporate sector say, yeah, it's ours now. Yeah, all that little cute protesting y'all was doing in the 60s and the early 70s, LGBTQ, hippies, environmental, anti-war, black civil rights, a black power movement, all of that, the Latinos that was into their power movement, that's cute. It's our turn now. And it's been their turn for 50 years. So I'm agreeing with Better You. And what you got in the 80s was a reimagining of the 50s. That's how you get all that reimagining of the 50s and really thinking it was father knows best for everything. It really wasn't even in those white homes. They reimagined the 50s and they got all of the kind of Christian nationalists, white nationalist Christian folks. They got all of them on that train, reimagining the 50s, number one. And then the personal accountability, which was really directed mainly at black folks, but also white, poor, and working class people got hit with that shit too, which is like, stop asking the government to do for you and to look out for you and to protect you from the corporate sector. We're about to let the corporate sector eat your fucking lunch. So deal with it. And it's all personal accountability and character flaw. Go ahead. Well, real quick, Nima, I'm sorry to let you. elder privilege. So Kevin C, and then Neighbor, and then I'll go after Neighbor. Go ahead.
Well, I
Yeah,
kind of
how
missed
was
some of what
Kevin?
you. Yeah, that's fine. I kind of missed some of what you guys were talking about. I was downstairs. I'm back up from breakfast,
Hmm.
but yeah. So
Oh,
the
it must
thing
have been a good
is
breakfast.
yeah, yeah, it was a very nice breakfast. So I squared that away. You know how it is. I wouldn't.
He's got the
You got to
itis.
eat it while it's hot. But the thing is that yeah, even though the corporations have taken over and there's nothing been significant since the 1960s. And remember how that came about? People have this idea that that legislation came about because, oh, well, there was this empathetic feeling towards black people and the suffering and everything else. No, it was
Hmm.
black people were ready to
Nope.
tear the country apart.
Yep.
That's what was happening. They like we gotta calm this down. But what ended up happening was stuff got apportioned out, and everybody else again is still getting the assistance and the help and the grants and the loans and all this other stuff, while making sure that black men are not benefiting in any way. Because if you empower the men, then you get that situation again,
Yep.
and our government really has a bug up their ass about making sure that well, damn it, if we empower the men, we help the women, and then they get strong again. And what if they what if they go up against us again? Like they really don't want to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That that's what's been
Because
going
that's
on.
exact.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't. In that, I don't fault them. We will. We will. Y'all are too captured by the elite. And so, yes, people are going to demand more for their work. Yes, we're going to demand more labor rights. Yes, we're the women are going to demand more paternity leave and all this other stuff. Yeah, you're right. And that was the whole point. Why create this thing and then tell the average person, yeah, just get it how you live?
Yeah.
What?
And
Right?
It was Henry Ford
oh,
who said that.
Wait. Name her and then better you and then I'll go after better you. Go ahead. Go ahead, name her.
It was Henry Ford who talked about, even though he renounced his anti-Semitism later on, but he said that, it works both ways. He said you still have to pay your workers a livable wage because
Yep.
those people who work for you are also going to be your consumers.
Yep.
There's a symbiotic relationship of sorts. That's how capitalism and the economy is supposed to work. Unfortunately, the problem is we have this corporate greed. Not to mention you've had a lot of deregulation because those special interest groups have captured not just the executive, but also the legislative, the judiciary. They've also gotten their hands inside academia through certain institutes and foundations for do research. And they fund certain research, but but through their finances have control over what comes out of that research. Has anybody ever thought about that? Why do you think you have certain, you have anybody ever wondered why you have why you look at certain institutions as somewhat shady? Or how about the AstroTurf organization?
You mean like
Follow the
certain
money.
institutions? You mean like NGOs? Go ahead.
NGOs, certain, what we call thinking tanks,
Yeah, think tanks. Yep. Yep. Yep.
tanks like them, a lot of them. Or what's the names? Some folks on YouTube who've been put on blast because they've been proven that their conservative views have been thoroughly debunked time and time again.
Well,
They're
I
hey,
called
mean,
Prince,
you
progressive
have a
conservative pain in the ass.
Hey Z,
but
Go
if I
ahead.
can
PragerU,
get
yeah,
you.
Prager, yeah, like PragerU and stuff. Because like you gotta remember, like
Yeah,
who funds these people? When you find out, like the Koch brothers are funding this and that, and like you're like, wait a minute, bro, y'all are just doing. And I'm gonna shut up right after this because I want Better You to go, and then well, I think Kevin C want to say something, so Kevin C and then Better You after me. Let me get this out. When you find out who's funding who, you realize that
hmm
what it really is maintaining your position, right? So, and that's why I get so frustrated when I listen to people like Ben Shapiro, and then I listen to all the people that agree with Ben Shapiro, that's working class and poor. I'm like, do you understand why he's saying what he's saying? Why are you? I know why he's saying what he's saying. Why are you saying it, right? And this goes to like the psychological wage of whiteness, right? People like Ben Shapiro say the things they say because they want to maintain their class position. They telling you to get it out the mud because they know how hard it is and they know you're probably not. They know you're probably never going to be in a position to challenge their wealth. They know that and they
at the
want to
same
maintain
time,
their position, right? So
right.
they tell you to get it out the mud because they know like yeah, he's never it's like I said before, like the short but shorties, like short, it's appealing to the people like are like you know handicap and be like, no, you're handy capable, right? And it's really an insult. But then when I look at the people that listen to them, like, yeah, he's right, and I'm like, nigga, I know how much you make, especially the white dudes. I'm like, bro, I know you only make $15 an hour and you're 47 years old, right? Like, I know you only make $20 an hour and you're like, whatever, however years old, and you don't have no trust fund, right? So like, why do you? What is it about these particular people, the Jordan Petersons? Why do you agree with him, right? Outside of some of the, the bootstrapism that actually makes a little bit of sense. But outside of that, why do y'all agree with them? And once again, it's the psychological wage of whiteness. So Kevin C, and then I think better you, and then name her. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it's just
Mhm.
whiteness.
Yeah,
Basically the whole B.
exactly.
Johnson. If you could convince a white man that he's better than the best black
Yep,
man, then there you go. Hey, the
yep.
other thing too, I was gonna say is just real quick the NGOs, and
Hmm.
I don't want to get your channel in trouble, but they're not what you think they are. Just know that
Yeah.
when they're out there operating and doing what it is they do, they're
Hmm.
not what you think they are.
Shout out to the Clinton Foundation. Anyway, go ahead. I know what you're saying, Kevin. Don't worry, I know. Hey, Hillary ain't winning. I wonder if those people have a receipt for all the money they put into the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
Y'all put hundreds of millions. You had people from around the world and including in America. Y'all thought she was gonna win and y'all were gonna be straight, and she lost. Oh,
Excuse me. Before you guys continue, may
go
I
ahead.
address what Black Ruru said? Black Ruru comment. That's correct, Black Ruru. One of the co-presidents. But then again, that
Oh
family
yeah,
is
yeah. Keep.
dysfunctional as hell. But
Hmm.
that family is actually dysfunctional because does anybody remember Anna Nicole Smith? And this is how I'm
Yeah,
going to go
absolutely.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yep,
Kevin
yep.
Bacon.
Of course.
Let me go 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon on this one. She was married to J. Howard Marshall Jr.
Hmm.
J. Howard Marshall Jr. had two sons, J. Howard III and Everett Pierce. Both more who are still alive.
Hmm.
J. Howard Marshall worked with Fred Koch, the father,
Hmm.
and then when Fred Koch died, his four sons
It's four.
were
Thank you for
shot.
saying that name up because we know the two most infamous ones that kept their faces in there. But it was there was actually more than two sons. The two that we all
His
know
four
about is
sons,
just the
the
loudest,
twins. Hold on.
the loudest dickish ones.
Yeah, I'm
But go
getting to
ahead.
that. I'm getting to that. I'm getting to
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I'm getting to that.
yep.
It's the twins because
Hmm.
he has four sons. The middle kids are a set of twins. The twins they fought against each other. They vied for power, and
Yeah.
then with one of them, the oldest sided with one of them. The youngest sided with the other twin.
Hmm.
And here's where the Howards and here's where the Marshalls come into this because like I said, Jay Howard or the Marshall Jr., the father of the Howards, the Marshalls, he was good friends with Fred Koch, the patriarch.
Like, share, subscribe, hit the
They
super chat. Continue, Nemo.
they sided with the twin and the younger brother,
Mhm. Yeah.
that was him, the father, that was J. Howard Marshall and his son Everett, the
Hmm.
youngest of his sons. But his oldest son, J. Howard Jr., sided with the other, with the other twin and the older brother for control of
Hmm.
the company. But the older brother and the other twin, they were ostracized, so they've been living their lives quietly. The loud
Yeah.
ones you're talking about are the one who died is is one of those twins who died.
Yeah.
Is the twin that was in power, and the youngest brother is still in power.
Yeah.
So that family is dysfunctional as hell, just like the Marshalls are dysfunctional. In fact, the Marshalls, when J. Howard Marshall died, Anna Nicole sided with the older son for to contend the will because apparently the will left her out of it as well as him. And the one who E. Pierce, he had control of it until he died. Now his widow has control of it. So there's a lot of dysfunction in those families. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't
I
understand.
mean, like, they're still people. They are still
True.
yes, they're
And
wealthy,
he's seen as
yes, they're
individuals.
connected, but yeah, they're still people. They are, and what makes
They're
their
seen as
situation
individuals,
even
but we're
worse
seen as collectives.
is their
Go ahead.
fight. Look, bro, we already know when a family member passes and your mom leave a little $50,000 to three siblings, y'all be ready to murk each other for that little 50 grand. You imagine millions, tens of or hundreds of millions? Oh no,
Control of a
yeah,
whole corporation. They
yep,
were fighting over
yep,
control
yep,
of a whole corporation. Some of
yeah,
them
You
lost,
mean it's Game of
and
Thrones?
they've been philanthropists, but they've gone on to do other things. As far as the Marshalls, because they were caught up in that, the older of the two sons, he was, because he sided with the losing side, he got disinherited. He had to go on and start his own business. While his younger brother, who after a career in the Navy started his own successful career, had to delegate his shit as well as take over his father's company because his father was ailing and dying. After his father, lost his second wife, and then next thing you know, he meets Anna Nicole Smith, and the rest
Yeah.
is history.
It's
But
just
that shit
it's
is
just
crazy.
crazy. But yeah,
But
better
also on
you
the other
wanted to say
side, you also
something
have
also?
George Soros. Like, go ahead.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Finish up neighbor and then better you.
Yeah, but on the other side, people would talk about George Soros, but then again, there are other individuals like this that we don't know about because they've been in the shadows the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. These are the ones when we talk about philanthropists and billionaires who are going out just funding all this shit and everything. Excuse my French. These are the ones we know about. There are others that we don't know, but we know that they have some influence because certain people in power answer to them.
Yeah.
Answer to them,
I mean, like I
especially
said,
in Western politics.
I don't think it's a coincidence. I bring up Candace Owens all the time. We got our people on the left too. Um, like I say to people, it's not a coincidence. What 94% of black women voted for Hillary Clinton, and then Candace Owens comes on the scene, and the conservatives champion her, like she's some type of special black woman. I mean, if I'm known, and I'm not saying the Democrats aren't racist, clearly Joe Biden. I mean, clearly, all right. But
He has a
if I'm
demonstrated
known,
record of racism. Yeah.
literally, right? Like literally. And if I'm known as the racist party and black women who are seen as like somewhat of the moral conscious of America, if they're voting against me at 94%, oh yeah, I have to bring I'm gonna have someone to shield me from the criticism of being this particular group of people. And Candace Owens does a pretty damn good job if we're gonna be honest.
Wait, does
Yeah.
anybody know how? Does anybody know how she got her start?
Didn't she
Yeah,
start
she
by
had.
making fun of Trump?
Gamergate. No. She
Yeah.
started
No,
out as a
no.
liberal, right?
Oh,
No,
okay,
she
But
okay.
she got
started off. She
involved.
started
But
off
she
on
got
something
involved. See, wait, she got
Kickstarter, something
involved.
like that. Yeah,
No, no,
Okay.
Kickstarter.
wait.
Yeah.
It
Wait,
was
she got involved in the. And she got involved in the whole Gamergate thing,
Okay.
and that's when she flipped because she came across the two women involved, Anna Sarkeesian and what's her name, Zoe Quinn,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
the other female
But
because of the Gamergate scandal, and then
mhm,
that's when she flipped because she realized this is where the money's at, and
yeah.
Yeah, and and
shout out to
and
Michael
and
Farmer and her husband and the
Yeah.
father of her two children.
Yeah.
yeah, well, she got him in quick, didn't she?
What?
She
But that
put
was
them
the
babies
goal in
up
the
quick.
first place, right? That
Yeah.
was the goal. Now she could really start spewing her venom. Like, bruh. Anyway, like can't that's a
Go ahead.
don't worry, we'll find out the real soon enough. Don't
She got them
worry.
babies out quick. They don't
Yep.
play.
No, she locked it down. And
He
when you
locked
see
it
the
down.
interview with her and him, it's like it doesn't flow. It's like, bruh, you okay.
It doesn't
Eh,
matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's
That's
got
true.
the whatever he's got. It ain't blackness. So that's
Right. Yeah. Well, it's white elite Britishness. That's what it is. But go ahead, better you want to say something?
So yeah, with Candace too. I kind of got a vibe at one point that she was feeling Kanye, but Kanye don't really like black girls no more. So, um, to kind of
That would have been. Oh my God, that would have been the funniest thing in the world if she would have broke up with her husband to end up with Kanye. Nigga, do you understand the laughs? Oh my bro, I would have had content for a week or two off of that one.
yeah. There's
Oh
not enough money in it though.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not. It's not.
yeah. It's
man,
just there's no financial benefit.
yeah,
Yeah.
she got sense. I give that to her. But it was
Hmm.
like they was doing those interviews. I think it was around the time they was trying to do those White Lives Matter shirt, and the way
Hmm.
she was
Yeah.
looking at Kanye, it was you know the look when a woman is
Yep.
smitten.
Yep.
It's like,
Well, let's call
oh,
a thing a thing. Like, she's with her white husband. That's cool. He's the son of a Lords of London. That's cool. We can't. Okay, that's good. But it does speak to you know, some of us, we get the women off of our resources and maybe our intelligence or whatever, and then some of us get the women after our gift of gab and our charisma and our looks. And you know, you get them how you get them, but definitely when a woman's in the presence of what she really really wants, you could tell, bro.
Oh
You
yeah.
could
And
tell.
remember,
Wait a
Kanye was
minute.
given
So she's into. So she's into crazy black dudes.
I don't know if
Hey,
it's. I would like to direct you to Jeff Bezos' main squeeze, and when they pulled up on Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep.
Y'all
There
remember the
you
look on
go.
her face?
Yep.
Jeff Bezos is
Ooh.
arguably one or two of the richest. He's one or two of the richest man on the planet right now that we know of, and she still was looking at Leonardo DiCaprio like he was a snack.
Yep.
Mm,
And there you
mm,
go.
mm, mm, mm.
but to
Go ahead,
my,
Better.
Go ahead,
my my
Byron.
my larger point was the rationale behind who gets what resources. And to your point earlier, where it's like, yeah, if we put the communities in great positions, they're going to rise up again and they're going to challenge us. And very much so, in my opinion. So I think one thing women really have to ask themselves is, it's not to say that they didn't put in any work. It's not to say that they didn't get there because they didn't put any effort into it. But the other piece of it is guys who are disgruntled, guys who lack opportunity, and guys who are angry, a lot of times bodies start to pile up. Women in those same situations, I tend to get angry
Yeah,
letters.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
So
that's
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, somebody was actually talking about that. If you look at societies that are colossal failures and collapses, epic
Hmm.
collapses, they've had too many men that are unemployed and not married, and they're just running around loose, and they don't have anything productive to do, and they don't have
Hmm.
anybody to worry about. When you have a family and you have other people
Mhm.
to have concern about, then you're a lot less likely to be destructive. But if you
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
don't have that, then you don't care about anything, especially when the world hadn't given you what you feel that you deserve anyway. So you got nothing
Like
to
I said,
lose.
what's the
Definitely.
incentive for the men? Y'all snatching all the incentives off the table, and then think you just gonna shame them, or you think you're gonna just give them so much internet porn that they're that's gonna subdue them enough or sedate them enough. I don't think so.
No.
The,
I
Well,
don't think so.
and
all you got to do is look at black men. You know, black men
Yep.
used to have the incentive to actually want to be stepfathers, and where that went off the tail, that went away real quick, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That lasted all of like maybe what let's say some of
couple
silent,
decades
let's say
maybe.
boomers and the older Xers. By the time you get to the younger Xers, it's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Well,
Yeah.
The,
well, the women messed that up, so that's on them.
Yep.
the
That's not and boomer and I'm sorry. And millennials and Gen Z definitely not trying to have it. It'll happen, but yeah. But go ahead, yeah, yeah, go ahead, Barry.
and I'll just say this to kind of piggyback off his last point about things and having something to lose.
Hmm.
I used to be. I still have a little bit of a temper. And I remember it was probably like 2 or 3 years ago, like somebody really pushed my buttons to a point where I wanted to take it there.
Hmm.
And I came down so quick when I just thought of my son. And it was like,
Mhm.
Hmm.
we ain't I'm it's my fault for even being here and being in this situation. We ain't in the same
Yeah,
circles. Like,
yeah,
I got something to lose. You can go sit somewhere for a year and a half and it's nothing for you. You know what I mean?
yeah. And it's the same thing, yeah, for me right now, it's my lady. It's, y'all know I'm in the cars. It's my car. It's the future that I see that
Family.
I'm slowly starting. Yeah, family. I'm slowly starting to build a foundation, right? And or at least the
Uh,
foundation is here, but I'm slowly starting to kind of build on it. My
Mhm.
finances are all right-ish enough, and like better you said, like when you get hot, and it was even a supervisor. I got hot. I heard something, and I was gonna confront the supervisor, right? And I wouldn't have gotten fired, right, unless I did something like physical or whatever. But I wouldn't have gotten
uh-uh.
fired because unionized and city and whatever. But I didn't even want to get ran up. And like better you said, I came down because I was thinking to myself like, all right, this is gonna mess with your yearly review probably, and then that's gonna mess with your money. Like, yeah, you're not gonna make as much as were gonna make before. Like, once you have something to lose, it really calms you down. The thing is, we took
I'll give
away
you one.
things for men to lose. We took away a lot of things for young men to lose. You didn't give them anything in the first place, and well, there you go. Go ahead, Emma.
In my case, living up here, um, one word was the biggest reason for me to calm down until I got my citizenship, and that was deportation. That's the biggest incentive for me to stay calm for the most part. But once I got my citizenship, I was just like, I was a lot wiser, more mature, and I was like, y'all ain't worth it. That's all what I thought.
Hey, you know something
But there's
else?
times when there are times where I want to snap, but I know I cannot snap. I mean, there are times when I want to go like, what's the word we use?
Over here we say postal, but yeah, in America we
That's
say
the word I was
postal.
looking for,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
No, that's the term I use. Postal. By the way,
Mhm.
before we continue, I need one question. I got a question.
Mhm.
What the hell is an Obama phone?
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
you missed the
back
whole
during
discussion about Obama phones.
I'm from the other side of the Atlantic here, folks. I have never heard this phrase before.
Okay, I'm gonna let
So
I'm gonna let
got it.
better you and Kevin C. I'm gonna let Kevin C get that for you. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, so
What the hell is Obama?
during the presidential terms of Barack Obama, especially in the
Hmm.
first term,
Uh
if
Yep.
you're a woman and
huh.
you were on welfare and you had children, whatever, as part of the welfare package, in addition to the Section 8 housing and all the Medicaid, Medicare, and everything else,
Hmm.
Obama,
Uh huh.
President Obama, phones were issued, and you had a
Cell
plan
phones.
that was
Yep.
paid for. Yeah, cell phones and all of that
Hmm.
stuff. It was the idea was okay. So everybody else was getting them, and they needed to have contact with the kids and everything else. But
Hmm.
again, it was just another incentive that was thrown at women that they didn't,
Hmm.
have to actually work for. But yeah, that was a kind of a running
Oh,
joke.
the
No particular
conservatives.
model.
The conservatives killed him with that. But go ahead, Better C.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was the
that's a
real.
Better C. Kev C.
Here was the real insult: is that Obama went out of his way to do everything else for all
Hmm.
the other racial groups and special interest groups, and black people got
Hmm.
Obama
Uh huh.
phones. Black
Yep.
women got Obama phones. Men didn't get
Exactly.
nothing
Yep.
because you had
Are
to
we
be
talking any
eligible.
kind of model or
we
model in
had my
particular?
brother's keeper for like 5 minutes, then they black
Yeah.
women
They,
killed
they
that.
And
scrapped
No,
it.
they
and
shut that
and
down.
black
But
women
women.
literally sent letters to the White House complaining about my brother's keeper, which on its he left it vague enough. It was we knew it was mainly for black boys and men, but you got to get some Latinos and some working class and poor white dudes and white boys in there. But black women were so incensed about it. I'm like, God damn, damn, they can't have
They don't
shit.
want
But
nothing
If
go,
for
you
them.
empower
They don't
black
want
men in
yeah,
nothing
any
for
way,
black
it's a
men.
problem. I'm telling you, if you
yep,
empower black men in any, if you, I mean, that's why you don't hear any programs exclusively for black men. That's why black men have to look at policies that help you out economically, and just latch on to that versus being catered to. Because they will say, well, black women will get this, and that's why the Democrats have such a stranglehold on the women, and it's going
hmm
to be hard for the women to.
Oh, by the way,
I
thanks
tell
for
people that,
clarification, folks.
uh huh,
hmm
Thanks for
yeah.
clarifying what that is because
okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know
name
what the
let
hell
let
you were
let let
talking
Kev see
about.
learn
yeah,
real
no
quick. Go
problem.
ahead.
I tell people that
No,
one of
I'm just being appreciative.
Mhm.
That's
yeah,
right. Go
thank you.
continue.
Yeah, you're no problem. You're welcome. But yeah, I tell people, I said there's no real reason for actually there's no reason for black men to vote Democrats at all because we get
Mhm.
nothing. Black women get crumbs and scraps, and they're happy to have that as
Mhm.
long as they don't have to listen to the men. All right, in other
Well,
words, black men.
Kev, going to
Even
what you're
go ahead.
no, no, go ahead and land because I'm not gonna forget what I'm saying.
Yeah, even
But
if
that,
it's to their disadvantage, even if it
mhm.
puts them in near poverty, even if they're suffering, they consider it much better than actually having to listen to you, Mr. Z. All right.
True. I mean, it's true. And going to what you're saying, like, so when I was watching, was it?
Mhm.
I think it was Richard Reeves, Dr. Richard Reeves speaking to Rolo, and he said something along the lines of like, that's something that's growing is more men, including men of color, voting more conservative, and the women, um, voting more Democrat. Although there's a caveat to that, not so much white women, right? So if you count the white women that teeter, but for the most part vote Republican, you're giving these elections to Republicans, right? To all the Democrats, to all the lefties, you're going to give the elections to because yes, there are more women than men in the country, clearly more female voters than men, but you're not counting all the white women in particular that vote Republican, right? So what ends up happening is we've allowed white women to become the deciding vote. That's what we're going to start doing because if people of color, namely women of color, vote Republican, right?
Uh-huh.
Some white men, obviously some white women, and then more men of color and white men vote Republican. We leave white
Yeah.
women to be the deciding factor on who gets into the White House. So yes, they're already the largest voting demographic in the country, but
Uh-huh.
it's really going to be on them whether the country goes right for 4 years or left for 4 years or 8 years, right? So I don't know if that
Mhm.
was necessarily smart on women's part,
But here's the
particularly
thing.
women of color part. Yeah.
But here's the thing. When you say people are, because the devil is always in the details, correct?
Mhm.
The devil's in the details, correct, fellas?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
absolutely.
go ahead, Emma.
Well, so when they say more and more men of color are voting
Mhm.
Republican, my question is, what's going on? Is this are they genuinely becoming more and more conservative, or is this in response to something? Because you got to understand, certain things are being done. People do certain things more often than not in a
Mhm.
reactionary way. They're
Mhm.
reactive, or they're reacting to the state. They're so because if they're being put on blast like this by the left, the right is going to be more than happy to capitalize on it. But that doesn't mean
Yeah.
the right is going to have any. They're going to have any incentives for them because they're like, we should be voting for Republicans. Uh, and like BGS keeps asking, what do the Republicans have for us if we vote for them?
Well,
let me
so
respond to that.
that's the flip side. Go ahead, better you, and then and I'll go after better you.
Go
Go ahead,
ahead.
go
So
ahead.
the flip side of it, what do Republicans have for us? Bullshit, personal responsibility,
Exactly.
fairy tales and dreams. But this is the thing of it, because
Right.
because America is a bipartisan system, a political system. You are effectively
Mhm.
locked into either Democrat or Republican. So I would argue that although a large amount of men are starting to vote more and more on the Republican side, I don't believe it's because they agree with Republicans. I think it's basically the only way we can effectively say "fuck you" to the Democratic Party. That's the
I
only
agree.
reason I ever
I agree
took anything other than
100%.
Democrat is to say "fuck you" to
Yeah,
them.
I agree.
And
I
now
agree. And it go.
understand something.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Kev.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I'll
Yeah,
go after you.
understand something else too. That although the Republicans don't cater specifically to black men, their
Hmm.
policies, basically the trickle down policies and the effects of the stuff that they do to actually help their base, if you look at it correctly and play it right, you can benefit too
I agree.
as a black
I,
man.
I
But you have to.
I think it
Uh,
speaks to the video I made about culture war, right? We don't Democrats don't got nothing for you as a man, particularly a black man, right? And the Republicans definitely don't got nothing for you as a man, particularly a black man. Like I said, the Republicans got for you bootstrap talk, aspirationalism, go out there and be an entrepreneur. Here's an axe, go chop some wood and go find your masculinity in a forest somewhere. Um, that's what the Republicans got for you. The Democrats got for you their version of respectability politics, which is like don't be homophobic, transphobic, don't be sexist, kiss women's rear end, and you should be okay. And it's all culture war things, but nobody's actually talking to you about the money, about the political process, about who's running things, about um, corporate capture of government, about neoliberalism. Nobody's talking to you about that, right? So it's just culture warring, and men and women are deciding on which side of the culture war they want to be part of. But outside of the elites are playing this game with us, but your everyday person, I don't really see them talking about like money shit. The important stuff, the political process. When we talk about politicians being bought by who, right? Politicians selling out to who, right? We don't. Nobody wants to talk about that part, right? So it's just which side of the culture war do you want to side with? And I agree with better you on that one. And so let me let Big Kev go, and then I'm gonna be getting mixed up between Big Kev and Kevin C. So go ahead, Big Kev.
well, it is my
If
recommendation that black men become one issue voters. Mine at this point is
Hmm.
economics. If you're not
Yeah.
talking economics, then I don't. You have nothing for me because
Yep.
I don't care about immigration or Roe v. Wade. Crime is an issue, but you know what? I can figure out how to avoid that. I really don't need your help on that. So
Hmm.
look, talk to me economically. If you're not talking economics, then I don't even know why you're talking to me.
okay,
Hey,
yeah,
Kev C, you sound like when you said that, you sound like a pretty woman. Like, why you what? Well, get out of here. I could find better. Ew.
Right.
No, but you're
That's
right
what
though.
you're
I
saying.
agree with you though on that, Kepsi. I agree with you on that one. I agree with you. For me, the money definitely matters. How it's allocated, who's really gonna get it, because you know they'd be real vague with that type of talk. Right. So yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. But once again, they give you culture or BS, right? Yeah. I could go into a whole tirade about that, but go ahead, Big Kev.
Oh yeah. Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry for getting up on the panel late. Kind of slipped in a little bit. Um, Here's something, not to try to derail the conversation, but something interesting I
Mhm.
found out is that apparently only like 3% of men in the U.S. and like 1% of people on Earth can bench press like 225. If you
Yeah.
ever play high
Yep.
school
Yep.
football, like that's pretty normal for like offensive and defensive linemen. So like
Yeah.
because I played online, I was shocked when I found out how few people can actually lift that much weight. I'm like,
I
oh
don't
man,
know why
Hold up,
y'all
you
be
said
so shocked.
225?
Yeah, no. Let me say this because I remember having this conversation with a supervisor of mine and one of my other coworkers. These no neck swole niggas can lift 300 pounds, and I don't know
exactly,
why. And they're like, oh, because you know what it is. Y'all go to the gym, so y'all are like inculcated in that. Y'all are in
Yeah.
that environment and shit.
exactly,
So
yeah.
so y'all be like, oh, 300 pounds, yeah, that's definitely achievable, and it is. It's achievable. 225, 250, that ain't nothing. And I'm like, do y'all know how rare that is?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's why, like I said, I was floored. You know what I mean? Because, like I said,
Yeah.
obviously,
You
I'm
put
like a
two
bigger.
45s on each side. That's
You
Right.
it.
see.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, obviously, I'm like a much bigger guy.
Hmm.
But even still, like you know what I mean. Like, my best friend, you know what I mean. He's like 198, and he could lift
No, give me a
225. You know
second,
what I
Big
mean?
Kev. Give me a second. Name of your background. Name of your background. Your background. Or is that my background? That might be my
That,
background again.
it's your
Watch this.
background. I was muted.
That's my
I was
background
muted.
again. I'm talking shit. My bad. Go ahead.
Okay.
Again. Go ahead, Big Kev. My
Fuck
bad. I
you
cut
with
you off
no
for no
shit,
reason.
Z.
Right. You
But
know
yeah,
what it
that's
is?
just
I keep on turning my car on and off, right? And then when I turn it on, the radio resets because I have the Bluetooth, so the radio resets the YouTube, and then it plays it in the background, and I don't realize it. I'm thinking it's one of y'all mom. See, I'm sounding like one of the moms that come home and try to accuse you of something, and you be like, "Mom, I cleaned though." But what about this? Right? My bad, y'all. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Z, you sound.
Right.
Have you been to my parents' house? Because that sounds like my
Right.
mom. And usually I'm the usual suspect.
I'm
As the
definitely
oldest,
I'm
I just get
definitely
the
one of
brunt
those
of.
parents apparently.
Uh, Shout out to Mama Z and Daddy Z.
Right. Hey, Diaspora L said, I'm in the 500-pound club. Diaspora,
nice.
you and Charles can lift 500
Yeah.
pounds?
Yeah, yeah. See now, I'm impressed by that. I'm like, I
Yeah.
consider
That's
that being
that's
strong. I'm
deadlift,
like, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's deadlift, right?
Look,
No, they're talking
look.
about what I was referring to like a bench press. Like if you can
Yeah.
bench
Okay.
press 500, I mean that's
Oh
like
yeah,
Aaron
that's
Either
Donald
way,
strength.
that's super impressive.
500 pounds, all I think about is a brother that has a zero chin to chest ratio, and when his ears end, his shoulders begin, there is no neck. Right, so like that. I'm just talking
Think of
shit.
Mark
I'm just
Henry.
talking shit because I can't lift that, so I gotta find some way to feel
Think of
better
Mark
about
Henry.
the
Now,
fact y'all
Think
now
of
lifting
Mark
3 and
Henry.
500 pounds. Go ahead, go ahead.
I'll say, I'll say this though, like that is actually flooring because I don't think I've
Ooh.
I don't think I've ever lifted less than 180 because I started lifting when I was in high school. I was on football,
Hmm.
so getting
Like
to
yep, like said
225
football.
was
Yep.
like 3 weeks. Boom, I was there. Like
okay,
You
yeah.
see,
Right.
listen
350,
to
400. That's like
listen to the
impressive.
Adonises on my channel talking about them lifting cars and houses and shit and planets. Listen to them.
Yeah, I was about to say,
I'm
yeah,
playing
like
with you. Go
as a
ahead.
Okay, so
freshman, man, I
now
could barely do a 135, and then
Yeah.
sophomore year in high school, they do what they call like the muscle confusion exercises, where you like
Mhm.
alternate the amount of weight that you're lifting, and in
Mhm.
less than 2 weeks, I went from doing 135 to doing 225 as a sophomore in high school. So yeah, so that's why I'm so shocked. I'm like, wait,
Listen
you're
to
telling
these
me
guys.
most of y'all can't do 225? Like, bro,
Listen to
like they
these
literally
guys.
measure the amount of reps of 225 you're able to do at the NFL Combine. I'm like, yeah. So I'm like,
Let me make a manosphere joke. This is why the Keishas be chasing after y'all because they know y'all can lift their ass. That's why.
I
They know
guess
y'all
That
so.
can
is true
save
though.
them. If they fall off the edge of a cliff, they know y'all can lift their ass. That's why they be chasing after y'all.
That
Go
is
ahead,
true. They
Kempsey.
like
You
when I
want to
throw
say
their ass
something?
on the bed.
Right?
I'm gonna give you guys some old man advice. So all of that
Go
stuff is
ahead.
great, but what winds up happening is as you get older, it becomes much more difficult for you to do, and then it's actually now you because that's wear and tear on your body
Mhm.
as you're
Yeah.
younger, and you can handle it. because that's what your body is designed for. But as you get older, now you have to I'm not at 225. I can still do 225. I don't do it though.
Mhm.
What is it? I forget what one plate. You got a 45 and a 25, whatever that is. I think
Mhm.
it's like 135, whatever. And I
Mhm.
just do more
Yep.
reps versus actually heavier weights now that I'm
Yeah.
older, well, over
Yep.
50
Yep.
plus. So and then the bands, and I don't even run anymore. I do the boxing for cardio and the battle
Mhm.
ropes.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, like for me, it's like I just got back into the gym. Like I hadn't touched weights for like 8 months, and like when I did it like last Monday, I was able to do 6 reps at 225. I got up to 10 on Wednesday, and I did 11 on Friday. So
You
that's
hear
why,
these niggas?
yeah,
Y'all lifting
Yeah.
whole Hummer H1s and excursions.
Yeah.
bro. like again, because again, if you played football, if you played high school football past like sophomore year of high school, that's like normal. So again, because we've been
This is why y'all
inculcated
be
in that
giving each
environment.
other CTE, big Kev. This is why, but y'all literally two SUVs crashing into each other.
Yeah,
Goddamn.
yeah. I actually I actually saw something online where they said like every game the amount of force generated just on the
Mhm.
offensive defensive line for one NFL game is the equivalent of getting into a car crash at 25 miles per hour with no airbag.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Offensive
like
defensive
literally,
line.
like quite literally, like cars crashing. Yeah, that's the
You
Is
see
amount of
what
that
I'm
force.
saying?
Big
cumulative or
No, I'm saying like overall, like the amount of
cumulative
Oh,
or
so
joules,
it's cumulative. Yep. Yep.
the
Yep.
amount of
Yep.
energy released during a
Yeah.
game, just at the
Yeah.
offensive defensive line, just at the line of scrimmage
yeah?
between
Yeah.
linemen over the course of the whole game is the equivalent
So
of
it's not
getting
the
into.
whole get. Damn. So it's not even when somebody gets tackled. It's just the
Yeah.
start.
Exactly. Like over the
Yeah.
course of the whole game. Yep. It's
does
literally like getting into a car crash at 25 miles per hour with no airbag.
There's that
Yeah.
sports science.
does
There's that
anybody
sports science.
remember? Yeah, yeah. Does anybody remember Sports Science on Discovery Channel?
Yeah, sports
Yeah.
Yeah,
science.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember sports science. Yep. John Brinkus. Yeah.
They had
I
an
think he.
episode. There was an episode. In one episode, they had a segment in which they were comparing the amount of force that's generated in a tackle in American football compared to rugby,
Mm-hmm.
and what was the reasons for it for both.
See, I played rugby, and I can tell you, rugby
What
to me.
15 aside or 7 aside?
Oh, say what?
15 or 7.
Is it was it like is it 15 aside? Is it 15 on 15 or 7 on 7? Because they have
15
rugby
on
7 and
15.
traditional rugby. Okay,
It was,
traditional rugby.
yeah, it was in college. We were starting up the rugby team. I never actually got to play. They didn't start having games until our following year, but we started practices and everything.
Mhm.
And I can say this: rugby, even though it hurt more, I feel like it's actually safer than football.
Mm.
It looks safer. It
They
actually
have a
Yeah.
looks
better
safer.
they have a better concussion protocol than in American football. But then again, those guys, if you ever notice some of those guys, broken
Yeah,
noses,
Yeah.
broken ribs, and especially when they get in a scrum. A
oh
lot of
yeah,
those
Yeah, I
guys
was
they
gonna
get
say
cauliflower ears.
that's
That's
probably the
why
most dangerous
they get
part, right? The
cauliflower.
scrums.
Yep.
The
yeah,
scrum is where you get the cauliflower ears. Some guys, that's how they get what you call it? They get that's what they wear. They have to be careful when they come into contact with people because it's like you get your ears cauliflower. That's why some of those guys always have those ears, their headbands over their ears,
Yeah,
or that like that protective cap that some guys wear on their heads,
yeah.
that
yeah.
headgear. That's a scrum
Yep.
cap. That's to protect you from concussions, especially guys who've had concussions. They have to wear that.
Okay.
Let
Yeah.
me let me
I
let me
know
ask this
this
question
because
to
I go to
all.
kick.
Let me ask
But
this question to all the brothers that played football. Do you think there's a day, if America's still here, do you think there's a day when we won't have American football, or it will be so different that we might as well call it something else?
Yeah.
Perhaps. Yeah. But like
Hmm.
does anybody
basically,
remember Battlestar Galactica?
yeah. I was about to say, going back to like the
Battlestar Galactica.
going back to the sports science episode. Yeah, what they basically said was that um rugby players wear less protection, but NFL
Hmm.
players, like people who play football, they hit harder because
Yeah.
they wear protection. So it's not just physical, but it's almost psychological armor. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they really unload on you. Think like the John Lynch's, the Ed Reeds, the Ray Lewis's, like they will just
Yeah.
boom. Not to mention that
Ray
they're bigger
Lewis
on average.
literally was hitting niggas with his head.
Exactly. Like, bro, I was telling people, I'm like,
the other
man,
thing too is that rugby it's more of a agility and speed combination
exactly
type sport.
agility.
Mhm.
So So like say for
That's
example,
right.
if you're like a skills position player like a running back, you'll probably do
Mm-hmm.
well in rugby. It's like a running
Mm.
back, especially if you're like an NFL caliber running
Yeah.
back. Oh yeah, you know. But yeah, like because they're
They gotta be
bigger
cross
and
fit for that shit.
hmm
Well,
so
they've had rugby players transfer from rugby to football in
yeah,
Mm.
England.
Uh-huh. That's
yep.
true.
I,
Because rugby was the original version of a football, or what we call as
okay.
gridiron
Yeah.
football or American football. It's just like an advanced version of it, just with
Okay.
padding and with forward passes and stuff like that. But pretty much American football came from rugby. It's actually an offspring of rugby.
So what y'all are telling me is we need to pay for some of these boys to become rugby players, and we could dominate that too, and have the
Yeah.
Australians and the British really mad.
Hey,
Well, I mean,
First
they
of
already
all,
saw
it's
that
not
in
just
South Africa.
Bit
wait,
of
I
wait,
don't
the
know how we would do
wait.
against the All Blacks, but
well,
we
this
No,
is the
no,
thing
you know,
though.
well, first of all,
competition.
I'm gonna get to that. I want to address that actually. I wanted to address
Mhm.
that actually. First of all, it's not the Europeans you got to worry about. It's the South Pacific guys, because
Yeah.
you got New
Yep.
Zealand, you got Australia, but it's
Okay, yeah, I
also
said Australia. Yeah, yeah,
Samoa.
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah, yep.
No, not
Hmm.
just them, not just them, not just them.
We'll
And then
see
New
Not just them.
Zealand and all of that.
You
Yeah.
have got New Zealand. No, not just them. You also have Samoa,
yeah.
Tonga,
Oh, the Samoa. Okay,
Fiji.
okay.
You got more Samoans playing rugby. That's Western Samoa. That's independent Samoa, not American Samoa, folks.
Hmm.
Because American Samoa, they play American football.
Hmm.
Okay.
So you got more Western Samoa dudes just playing in rugby because there's more money in that. That's why a lot of those guys like to also play in the professional leagues, either in New Zealand, Australia, or they try to get to Europe. And in fact, you got the big Six Nations up in Europe. That's the biggest continental tournament. Then you also have the Six Nations in the Pacific.
Yeah.
That's Southern. That's South Africa. South Africa, big time with rugby.
Mm.
That's another
They're not
powerhouse.
as
You
they're
gotta
not
worry
as
about.
good as the Pacific. They're not as good as the Pacific Islanders and the Asian Pacific
Okay.
folks, but
Hmm.
they're in there though. But you know what though?
I,
Like I'm saying though,
Hey, they've
but
won two
you're right
World
though.
Cups, man. What are you
Black
talking about?
Black
It's time.
Americans could field a competitive team though.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
Uh-huh.
But go
we
ahead,
we
Big Kev, because I know Big Kev wants
Go
to
ahead.
go, and then better you. Okay.
Oh yeah. But like I
Hmm.
said before, yeah, that's just something interesting that I pointed out there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I was blown away when I found it out. So I'm like, I just had to share it because I'm like, wow, I had no idea.
I
But
said that shit. I said that to a supervisor and to one of my coworkers, because like I said, both of them could bench 300 pounds, and I was
Uh,
like, nigga, that's not a thing. Oh yeah, my bad. I did not realize you were in there. I added you, and I was like, and I forget. Go ahead, brother. Go. So we'll go to you, and then we'll go to better you. Go ahead.
well, for me, I'm shocked, right? So
Hmm.
my assumption is the guys who haven't played sports, you guys aren't Americans,
And
correct?
this is Sand Dog. Everybody, go ahead, Sand Dog.
So you guys aren't Americans, right? Because what I've noticed in my travels is that for the most part, American boys gravitate toward what I would call gladiatorial sports, right? So
Mm.
when you guys are talking about 225 pounds, I've been benching 225 since I was 15, right?
Mm.
And then in the army, at the peak of my physical strength, I could do 110 push-ups in 2 minutes, 92
Mm-hmm.
sit-ups in 2 minutes, and
Uh-huh.
I could run 2 miles in 11 minutes and 56 seconds. This is
Ooh.
like real talk. Like one day I'll send you pictures of me of what I looked like in high school,
Mhm.
and in my I was, you know what I'm saying. So when I hear in the space like guys talk about women and body game and stuff like that, I just assumed because now a lot of my opinions have
Mhm.
shifted in a sense because I assumed that this was something that a lot of young men did. Now, the
Mhm.
Caribbean guys that I went to school with, a lot of them went to track and field and soccer, right?
Yep.
So they
Yep.
became
Yep.
you won't find them in boxing, you won't find them in wrestling, you won't find them in football, you won't find them in lacrosse. So for the American boys themselves, for us who are
Mm-hmm.
American, we
Mhm.
like the Coliseum, break your leg kind of shit. But like again, a lot of the Caribbean dudes I grew up with, they did like soccer and cricket. I
Mhm.
guess what you would call more gentleman like sports. So
That's correct.
especially so I mean so like so like for example, I'll tell you this. Like when I started high school, I was 5'6", 135. I came back my sophomore year, I was 5'9", 165. Then I came back my junior year, I was 5'10", 185. And then by the time I graduated, I was about 5'11". I was 5'11", 195, almost 200 pounds. So from high school, so from the beginning of high school to when I
Mike
graduated,
Tyson.
I grew like a few inches. You know, I got a
You
few
were
inches,
Mike Tyson.
and I get but that's what I'm saying. So I don't. So but to what Kay was saying, man, you know, I guess I was just living in a bubble because I thought that this was common, right? You know
No.
what I'm saying? I thought this was common. So I mean, at the end of the day, I don't, to be like, not to sound like an asshole. I don't I don't understand why you would trip that some young girl will be attracted to a dude that's bench pressing 225,
Right.
that's chiseled, right? And
Yeah.
you have, because at the end of the day, and this is just my thing, and I'll shut the fuck up, right?
It's cool.
This all started when I was 12 years old. When I was 12 years old, something in me just decided to hit the ground and just start doing push-ups. So the only difference between me and a lot of other guys is the fact that all I did was work out and play sports. What is stopping the rest of young men from doing that? Like if money is not a problem, if money is no object, what's stopping you from fucking getting on the ground and saying, yo, okay, I'll do 50 push-ups in the morning, 50 push-ups at night, or you know, or I play this sport or whatever the case
But
might
these
be.
video games and this internet porn, though, Sandog.
I don't even think it's that though. I think we built different.
Because a lot of us, boys and young men, like in our 20s, we're exposed to the same stuff. But I guess it's just a matter of like muscle memory, because once you stop playing past either high school or college, you still have that muscle memory of like lifting that much weight. So if you start back to doing it, it's just like, oh, it's just like riding a bike,
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but even still, right? Remove that. You belong to Gen X, for example, right? Okay, even if you rode the bench, football, whatever the case might be, what's stopping you from doing push-ups or walking in that weight room and working out?
That's a good question.
I can take a stab at answering that, bro.
Go ahead.
For me, and thinking about a lot of those things, the why behind it, because I grew up in the woods, we climbed trees, we used to fight each other just for fun, to pass time. We did push-ups, we did everything. But the fact of the matter of it was also there was a prize in it for us. And it was, if you could whip somebody, if you could handle yours, if you had a physique that looked a certain type of way, you won the unofficial game of life, because more often than not, that meant you made yourself more attractive. That meant that you had a better pick of the litter, so to speak, and that, you were safer physically because nobody could bully you and push up on you, but also you could got a little bit more leeway with the girls. I feel like with this generation and with the way that a lot of things is going, with masculinity being something that has become taboo, a lot of those things aren't really prized in society. And I think we're seeing the end result of that, because
women still
now,
like it, but not to cut you off, better you. Women still like it.
No, women still like it, but here it comes though. Women some goddamn hypocrites.
Yeah.
And this is the thing.
And y'all
they'll be like, they want their little boys to be these little pansies and allies and shit, and go to goddamn Chad down the street.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it is, me personally.
No, Better You makes a point of like preferences versus revealed preferences, what people scoff at and be like, oh, it's not that serious, or virtue signal. So when you're polled, right? When you're polled and the woman says, oh yeah, I don't really care for that. It's nice to look at, but I don't really care. But then you go down a list of dudes that she messed with before her husband, and it was nothing but like washboards and six packs. And then her husband comes along, so now she got a virtue signal about how that don't matter because this nigga's 5'7" with a gut, right? you know, go ahead.
I'm
Yeah,
5'9" with a
see,
gut,
I've heard
and I still got that upper body strength.
Yeah,
like
Like
listen, I heard
real
you talking
talk.
about like FD signifier, right? About
yeah,
desirability versus
yep,
value,
yeah.
right?
Yo, you saw it too.
So,
Yeah, perfect. Yep, yep,
so
yep.
if you were to bring me on that show, so let's just tell you this: I'm a
Mhm,
high school athlete.
mhm,
ROTC, I was ROTC at intramural sports in college, right? So
mhm,
just to let you know what stereotype I fit in, right? Omega Psi Phi, Q
mhm,
Dog, right?
mhm.
Okay.
So I fit that whole big, dark skin, fresh out of slavery, right? Could
Hey,
if you
and don't make it any better that there's literally a dog barking in the background and you said you're a cute dog.
correct,
But I'm just
yeah.
saying.
Listen,
Go
so
ahead.
it's the same thing. And I remember being in my gold boots with the dog collar off my neck, like, oh, take that rubber off, fuck that hoe, meat to meat. And it's like, oh, God. Like so, like it's I don't I I'm just shocked that y'all believed that.
Bullshit.
Wait, wait, wait. We didn't believe it though, Sandog. But there are some young men. Think about it, because you're talking about some of us that got lucky enough to have some male elders that pulled us to the side, or that we witnessed certain things. You just got lucky to see certain things or hear certain things that led you down a different direction. You have young men that they're exposed to almost nothing but women all day, and so they really
Oh yeah.
believe they angry mama
Mm-hmm.
and they angry auntie and they girl cousins and they teacher. They really believe that shit. And then they get to see these women sometimes weep because they lonely or because it ain't working out with whatever man your mom dealing with. So they really buy into the you don't have to look like this or be this, right? Or like they say, different forms of masculinity. And I believe that there's actually different forms of masculinity. Here's the problem. You got to be at the absolute highest level of that shit before women start looking. You got to be Prince. You can't be an off-brand Prince and be pulling. That shit ain't gonna work, right? So like, but women don't tell men that, right? So what ends up happening is those young men go out here thinking they could freestyle and do this other shit, and then they get their head taken off unless you part of the LGBTQ brigade, or unless you got one of those rare ass women that really, when she say she not on it, she really not. But all the
Yeah.
other ones are lying to you. And I think young men get resentful, like you were saying,
Yeah,
Sandog. They get resentful when they come out here and they listen to all these women BS them. They become that kind of lackluster man. Maybe not in their career, but like their physique or the way they speak. They're not forceful and whatnot. And then they get the worst type of treatment from women because they actually believed all those women in high school and college that were like, oh no, you don't have to be that type of man. Meanwhile, she's fucking that type of man. Right, and I'll pause right there. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. You make a good point. Yeah, and it's just like, and again, if you played high school sports, you would think, I guess, because you're in that bubble of playing high school sports or playing college sports or whatnot, you would think,
Mhm.
or if you ever know somebody who's trained for like martial arts, you would think like,
Yep,
yeah, of course they like a dude with a chiseled physique. Like, who the hell
yep,
wouldn't? If
yep.
you were a woman, but I guess because we were exposed to that environment, we're not like totally thrown off and shocked by
yeah.
this. But like some of these dudes, like you said, they've been raised by women, they were surrounded by nothing but women, and they take
Mhm.
everything they say at face value. And it's like,
Yep.
bro, no,
And then
no.
you get your head cut off when you cut. And this was an argument. And rest in peace. To Kevin. This was a back and forth between Angry Man and Kevin on this, because Angry Man was saying, okay, you get these men in suits, you get them talking right, you get them smelling right, you get them dressing right, right, and then when the women still turn their noses up at them, now what,
No,
right?
no. So in Kevin's
Yeah.
defense, right? He
Yeah.
broke this
And
down.
rest in peace. By the way, I
Rest in
don't,
peace.
I'm not trying to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
not
yeah.
trying to
Rest in peace.
disparage Kevin. Yeah,
No, no,
yeah,
no. Of course, no. But rest in
yeah, yeah.
peace. But what
Mm-hmm,
happens is, so in the collegiate world, right? So
mm-hmm,
when you get the disparity. So now, because he covered this, and
mm-hmm,
what happened was he talked about fraternities, right? And he was talking about, you got the Qs, Alpha, Sigmas. Everybody's in
Hey,
the middle.
fine.
And
mm-hmm.
what he was saying was that African American women, there are two fraternities that are the archetype of what African American women like, or what women like in general.
Mm-hmm.
First is his
Alphas and Qs.
fraternity. Exactly.
You already knew, and I didn't even watch it, and I knew what you were gonna say. Go ahead, finish.
So it's history. So you got on one extreme, there's the pretty boys and all of that, the newts, and the it's the kappas actually. So it's the kappas and the newts, and then on the other side, you got what he said, the Qs looking, again fresh out of slavery, muscles, and everything else, whatever. And so in our community, those are the two, but in general, these are the types of guys that women are attracted to.
That's a fact.
And then everybody else is like just kind of in the middle, so to speak. So even for me, till this day, right? I'm a professional guy, right? But if I'm around, so like if I'm around, like, certain people who know this culture and everything else, and if it happens to come up, right, I go from like, a regular, some guy at the office or the big guy in the office, right, to, oh, you a cute dog too? Oh, I know what you're about. I know what you're gonna do. And it's like I said, and it's the same thing. Like when you have that physicality. So everywhere I went as an adult, when I first walked into the office, people were like, who and what the fuck is that? Right? So
hysterical.
my voice, my size, it was like, one of the jobs, like especially like when I was working in Pakistan in Karachi, and I walked into the office and everybody stopped, and my homeboy was like, it was like the movie RoboCop, like when they first heard the footsteps in the police office, and everybody just came running, to see, to see what that is. And so the thing is that for men in general, right, this is, I think it was Socrates who said, what a shame it is for a man to live his life and not know the limits of his body or the limits. You know what I'm saying? Or the limits of the strength. And then I think even for Kevin, like even till now, I still do Brazilian jiu-jitsu and stuff like that or whatever. So I go to the UFC gym, but before my daughter before I got married, I was still spar and have fights, and and all of that other stuff. So I think
people forget that Kevin knew how to fight too.
Yeah,
Kevin had a background in martial arts. He had like in Chinese martial arts. But by the way,
and he was told the last thing you ever want, real quick, Naaman, the last thing you ever wanted was for Kevin to try to kick you, because he was what, 6'4", some shit like that.
He was 6'5".
He looked cute and cuddly on TV.
Exactly right.
Exactly. Him in real life is a completely different thing. And that's, my thing is that if there's any guys or any men, out there, right, when we were coming up, that was just like a rites of passage. I don't even know if you even did it for girls, really, right? Because when I was growing up, again, Sand Dog is old, right? I'll turn 46 this year. So when I was growing up, it was Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I grew up during the era.
The weightlifting era. Yeah. The weight. Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah. So that was WWF before. WWF. So we're growing up with everything from Kung Fu Theater and Bruce Lee to Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and all of that stuff. So it was
Jackie Chan movies.
That was a completely different time, because back then for us, being strong was being cool.
This is when the UFC really started getting some notoriety.
No, they started in '93. They started in 93
is when they started. Okay.
What you're talking about. By the way, if I may take the.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Z is at like 20% battery life, so we gotta have to,
Yeah. All right. Sand Dog. First of all, assalamu alaikum, Sand Dog. How you been, man?
Salam. Good, man. Good, man. How are you?
You know who this is? How you been, motherfucker? All right. By the way, what level belt are you right now in jiu-jitsu?
For me, I am trash, right? I will keep it up with you. What happens is that I start and I stop. I got to yellow, right? And so I am what's called an eternal white belt. However, right, if you're not skilled and you try to put hands on me, I will yoke you up. Right. Yeah. So if I'm dealing with somebody else that knows what they're doing, if I can't overpower them, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, well,
most people don't know how to fight. If you have 6 months of any type of martial arts training, you can pretty much whoop up on almost everybody. Almost, because what's the likeliness of you getting into an altercation with another person that knows how to fight? Number
No,
one.
but
I'm
it's,
Not
shocked.
really.
Yeah,
yeah, it's not
Not
just
as
that
a,
though. Like not to cut you off. It's not just that. One of the reasons why, too, sad and most unfortunately, before I use any skill, if you're because I've have fought people off the street as an adult, and
Yeah.
sad and most unfortunately, most people are out of shape,
Yeah.
so they can't. So they can't. So
Mhm.
you to have a fight or a decent
They can't even
fight,
go the distance. Yeah.
yeah, you have to you have to be in shape. So I've had people run up on me and they will reach muscle and cardiovascular failure before it can really come to anything. So
Oh man.
Hell.
yeah, man.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
if
It's
you, I mean,
Real quick,
I
name it.
mean,
Let Big Kev go, and then name it, and then I
all
think
right,
better you
all
want
right.
to go there, and Big Kev. So we're just gonna make this semi our closing, right, before my phone explodes or
yeah,
actually dies. So Big
yeah,
Kev, go ahead.
yeah. But like we was thinking about how like most people don't fight. Again, sometimes if you grew up, you had to grew up as a kid having like fight and stuff like that. Like that was like normal. Like I'm shocked. People look at me shocked when I said, I was like, yeah, I've only been in like 15 fist fights, and last time I got into a
Only
fist fight
they
was in
said only 15.
yeah, like literally, like I ran into some dudes at the barbershop. One dude I ran into at the barbershop, he said he's been in like 200 fist fights. So I'm like, oh, it's 15, it's nothing compared to 200. But like most dudes don't ever even get into one. I'm like, really? Like you really be looking confused? Like
I
most
had
y'all
this
never got
argument,
into
Big Kev.
one fist fight? Like what?
I had this comment with it's a young lady that I used to work with, and she butch lesbian chick, but small though, funny enough, petite, and we got into a back
Describe
and forth
petite.
one time. I think she probably weighed all of maybe 120, right?
How tall?
Maybe five. Let me say she don't even probably weigh 120. Let's say 5'7".
Uh-huh.
5'7", like
Yeah.
115, 120 or something. But anyway, so me and her
Oh,
were
that's
having this
anorexic,
thing,
but go on.
and she said something like, she's never been in a fight. I was like, wait a minute, you got all this mouth, all this sass, and I'm telling you, like, just loud, sassy, overall a good person. But just the stereotype, just hit the butch lesbian stereotype dead in the center, right? Um, and I was like, wait, and you never been in a fight? Like, ever? She was like, never. Not in elementary school, not in middle, not in high school, not in college. I was like, so you got all this mouth and you ain't never been in no fight with no other chick? And like, going to what you guys are saying, so what, because I've been in fist fights, right? I've only won slightly more than I've lost. So my win to loss ratio is horrible, but I still won.
Okay.
But I've even been in the fight. It's interesting to me to like what Big Kev is saying. All these people, especially online, that talk real reckless, but you ain't never had to back that up. And that's another reason why I don't talk crazy online, right? I don't talk crazy online because I know there's real ramifications for this stuff. So even if you can't fight, what about if a person got a weapon or et cetera, et cetera? All these other people, I
Exactly.
guess they're used to like living online, or for the women, they're used to the state being their bodyguard. So they
Who
think
was
they could
that?
just talk crazy and then, go ahead.
Who's that
Go
dude
ahead.
that
Go
got
ahead.
called? Who's that dude that got called out when he started talking about somebody's wife and the dude was ready to come see him to fight?
Oh yeah,
Fresh
that's
and
Fresh
Fit
and Fit them. That was Fresh and Fit,
against
and they
Alvin
messed with
Preach.
the wrong one. Yeah, because
Oh, Alba and Preach, yeah.
Preach used to be a freaking bodyguard or guard at clubs, and then a bouncer at clubs, and I think he knows some mixed martial arts himself. And then Alba was in the military in Canada, so like they
Abba
just
was
chose the wrong two Negroes. That's all.
no, not just that. No.
Mhm.
First of all, Myron is Sudanese. Let me get something straight. As the only East African in this motherfucker,
Mhm.
Myron is Sudanese. Abba's Ethiopian. I'm from Eritrea. I bordered both those countries.
Mhm.
Myron knew not to go there with Abba because he knew first and foremost, you're in South Florida. There's plenty of Ethiopian. You're not that many Sudanese, but plenty of Ethiopians and Eritreans down there.
Mhm.
So he's not going to fuck with that. The problem was they forgot that Preach, that Preach is
Haitian,
Haitian.
and there's a whole lot of us down here. A whole
Little Haiti,
lot.
anybody?
Yep.
Little Haiti, up in
I
the
put
Central
money.
Florida.
I put
Central
money.
Miami.
Preach got family down here. I put money. He got family down
Damn
here.
right. You got family. You probably got family up in the
I
Little
do got
Haiti,
family
Brooklyn.
in Canada. I actually do have family in Canada. Funny enough.
Montreal or Quebec?
Yes.
Montreal, Quebec.
Both. Both.
What about Brooklyn?
And
What
my
about in
dad put
Brooklyn?
me on game the fact that Haitian niggas in Canada are running shit in the streets too, like they do in South Florida on some
I'm gonna
scammy
tell you
shit.
this. I'm
But
gonna
go
tell you
ahead.
this, Z. I'm gonna tell you this
Yeah.
right now. You know, first and foremost, if you as a Haitian, if you're going to some place where there's gonna be Haitians, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find some relatives in there, or some relatives got some friends and some family over there.
Yep.
So if you
Yep.
got
Yep.
some shit,
Facts.
you got somebody to contact you. I know this because among my people, anywhere I go, they just tell me, listen, if you're gonna be here, here's a couple of phone numbers in case you need some help or anything like that. That's the relatives. That's somebody's cousin, whatnot. That's what you
Yeah,
got. They
but name
got
it.
you.
Don't lose the point. So what we were
But what
saying
I'm
is like,
saying is,
yeah,
but what I'm saying is like, we preached, like they said, they were trying to start some shit, like trying to
yeah.
pick fights and whatnot. Like me myself, growing up in Eritrea, I didn't get into a lot of fights. Honestly, I didn't get into fights anyway. I tried to avoid fights as much as possible because I knew the ramifications of it. It was better to walk away in most cases because, and then again, where I'm from, people would just throw rocks at you. They were throwing rocks at one another more often than fist fights. And bouncers were just buff, but they couldn't really fight worth much because they didn't have fighting techniques. All they knew is how to get buff and just be intimidating or grab you and just throw you out. So go on.
No, I'm just. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close on out, guys. It's actually been pretty interesting talking to you guys. It's nice to speak to gentlemen who are intellectually inclined and actually know what it is they're talking about.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Hey, and like I said, Z, I mean, I listen to your channel because you do the research on the divestors that I don't want to.
Look, we're really gonna go in on this couple that somebody told me to check out with Dinner Sperling's channel. I'm gonna check that out. We're gonna find out who the hell this racist white dude and his racist black wife is talking crap. So I'm gonna go to Gender War Lord's channel because, like I said, I already clicked it and I listened to a bit of it, but I'm gonna listen to the whole thing and yeah, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of L's out here. Did you hear the one about the divestor who the story about the guy who the one who got married when there was a guy he went to school with a young lady in high school. Anyway, she grows up, she marries, she goes to college, marries a white man, rich white guy, very rich, wealthy family, all of that stuff. Anyway, they meet up later in life because their kids were on the same traveling team together.
Okay.
And turns out that the grandparents were getting close to death, and they were like, "Look, out of the 4 kids that were produced out of their marriage they had the parents and the grandparents, but out of those 4 kids, he was the only one who married a black person, and they said, "Look, you ain't getting nothing." That dude promptly dumped his black wife, who he produced 3 kids with, and married a white woman.
Rewind. For those of you that remember Mr. Z's video from about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, when I said they're not gonna risk their uncle's classic Mustang, their uncle's classic Corvette, their grandfather's Rolex, their dad's house, right? And it'd be their mothers and their grandmothers who really be putting the threat on them. Yeah, the fathers and the grandfathers too, but it'd be the mothers and grandmothers that be like, "Yo, you can have your fun with that black woman, but don't you have no kids." And even when they do, the threat is always
And
this
was real money too. These people got like homes and villas and other countries and
come on,
across
man.
the United States and horses and shit.
How do you? This is the thing for me though. Everyone, let me get this right. You chastise black women in somebody's background, but because I can hear myself through it, and I checked, it's not me. This time it's not me. But so let me get this right. We chastise black men for not building their equivalent of white supremacy, which I don't know if y'all really want that, because of what black men would have to be and what they would have to do. But okay, we chastise them for that, and we speak about white family and what they do, and then you turn around and attempt to be with those men, cool, and then you wonder why they don't actually marry you. What do you think their family members are telling them? What do you think the same resources that you're trying to get is the same resources that families hold over their head not to be with you? Duh.
Absolutely.
Produce white children for us. We want white sons and white daughters. All this foolishness about this cute black girl, yeah, that's cute. I mean, it happens occasionally. Like I said, one of McCain's son is married to a sister, right? There are white people of note that have black wives. We're not gonna say that's not a thing. Well, let me take that back. We're not gonna say it doesn't happen, but it's not a thing, right? So
yeah. I was about to say, like, literally the probability of a so-called black woman being married to a white man at any particular point is 1.1%.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 27% marriage rate times 4% of that marriage rate being to a white man. So literally, these chicks who talk about swirling and divesting, y'all want to do all this self degradation and self hate and minstrelsy and black men ain't shit just for a 1.1% probability
Hey, it's better.
that a white man's gonna marry you.
But they
That
get the
lottery
babies,
chance
though.
is
And that's
better than
anyone.
ending up with you as a black man, though. That's how they
Right.
think.
They're getting the
Exactly.
babies,
So
though. They're getting those
so
babies too. So
Oh yeah, yeah, 15%. Kev,
exactly.
they're
Yeah.
at 15%.
Yeah, like and they'll complain about us, making them into baby mamas, yet when they step outside of the quote unquote community,
Right?
what happens? They
Blackistan.
become right. They become baby mamas at an even higher
It
disproportionate percentage. So it's
it's
like,
sad to me. It's funny, but it's sad. Like, bro, I'm not about being no big black buck for no white woman, bro. I've never been that mad at black women where I'm just gonna be and even as a man, I still have enough self-respect not to be the pass around for a group of white chicks. And for y'all to be that angry at black men, right? That you're willing to be the pass around, because let's be clear, some of y'all, that is what you are on these PWI campuses, quiet as
yeah,
kept. Quiet
yeah,
as kept. That, especially, you see that one hanger-on black girl that's part of a group of nothing but white
token,
folks.
yep,
The
token,
one
yep,
token black chick, and she's extra skinny, so she could look the type of way that they are okay with for black women. Understand, she's the pass around for that team. She's
yeah,
the pass around for that team,
yep,
oftentimes. And I couldn't even be that for white women. I
yeah,
know there's brothers that would love. Oh yeah, I done piped her and her. Yeah, that's cool. Whatever. I couldn't be that. So it's always interesting to see
yeah,
these people talk crap, and like we said, and then they come back to the hood 5-6 years later, after they graduate college, and then they're like, oh yeah, black men and loyalty, y'all not loyal, bitch. We know about your college history, bro.
yeah,
Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, and like I said before, and we got to really twist the knife on this. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Really twist the knife on this. Listen, the reason why so-called so-called black men participating in international interracial dating is so controversial. It's not because we pedestalize white women. It's because the vast majority of us don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Literally, if you listen to people like the Funky Academic, I've even had some people in my own family, who have like white women as wives or girlfriends.
Mhm.
Most of us will literally tell you like white women are not special. And think of like when you look at things like skin bleaching in like a lot of these Asian countries, or African countries, you look at Blanking Minto, or Better the Race in Latin America.
Yep.
Or if you look at right.
Yeah.
Or if you look at a lot of so-called black women here in America doing with all this hair relaxer and a hair weave addiction and giving themselves alopecia and fucking up their edges just to look like some white woman named Jennifer.
Chris
put all
Rock,
that
good
effort-
hair, anybody?
To put
Chris
all that
Rock,
effort
good hair,
in,
anybody?
exactly.
Wait,
to put
wait,
all
wait,
that-
wait, yeah.
I'm saying to put all that effort into trying to look like an off-brand, great value, possibly wannabe white woman, and to see these
To look
so-called
like Amber.
exactly, and to see these so-called quote-unquote inferior, lowly Negroes literally just walk up to these quote-unquote divine white goddesses and talk to them like they're commoners.
Yeah.
I think for them, it's like a lot of people's egos are offended by that, man. Like
Yeah.
it really, they really do feel some type of way, because again, I'm not saying like as like me personally be interested, but if you look at how most brothers, move when it comes to how they deal with them, they move like they don't give a fuck, and for the most part, they don't.
I was just about to say, because they don't.
Yeah,
Like,
like they don't sit up here and do all these, I've had a crush on you for 9 months. I'm writing you hidden love letters. No, if you're interested in her, you come right up to her and talk to her. Hey, how's it going, Caitlin? I'm Jamal. Whoop de whoop de whoop. If she says yes, okay, cool. If not, no big deal.
2 weeks later,
Exactly. like
if even 2 weeks later, depending.
First of all,
It's
fuck
like
you and your
they-
SpongeBob references, Z.
Right.
But anyway,
Right.
continue.
Exactly, but yeah, like think like a lot of like non-black men and a lot of non-white women, they put
Mhm.
Western white women up on Mount Olympus, and the fact
Really?
that some of them will jump to the depths of Hades to go suck off a dude named Jamal, like again, it makes them feel some type of way. It's like,
yeah.
bro,
Hey,
like
y'all
stop-
realize? Let me go ahead, Big Kev. Let me finish up, because I actually got something to say to that. To
Yeah,
what's her face? The singer from Britain. What is her face? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Have you said
Black
white woman?
woman.
What's her face?
Adele?
She black or white?
Adele. Look at what Adele was
Okay.
willing to do. Adele didn't end
Just
up
to
with
get
LeBron. Adele ended with LeBron's right hand man. She did all of that not for LeBron. This is
Exactly.
one of the most notable entertainers on planet Earth right now, right? She's a white woman that can actually sing, right?
Does anybody remember her
And
song "Hello" in the video? It was a
yeah,
brother. That was she was
and she
talking
did that
about.
for she lost weight. She came to America. She did all of that,
No, that was
not for
before she got.
LeBron, but for
No,
LeBron's right hand man. Go ahead.
no, she dropped the weight after the song "Hello," but that was like a
Yeah,
year, like a couple years afterwards, after she divorced
yeah.
her husband and shit.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, like you notice like is everybody just like I mean, how many of y'all checked out like Dr. Tia Sun Johnson's video about black male sexuality and how it's been demonized and fetishized?
Yeah, well, it's both.
Because we get it both. We get demonized and fetishized by so many people. But it's not just the straight brothers.
10% battery life.
Gay brothers too get fetishized and shit. I mean,
Oh,
you have no
hell yeah.
idea. Hell, I remember getting hit on a couple. There's a
Yeah,
couple
me
stories
too.
I've
It's
told.
not fun.
There's a couple
Middle-aged
stories.
white dudes, y'all, they predators for black dudes. I'm telling y'all.
If he's ugly, he's yeah.
Hey,
Oh, by the
hey,
way.
let me actually say that for all you niggas that wasn't skinny, and see, Naaman said he was skinny. He's skinny too. For all you not skinny and never been skinny niggas, let me tell y'all something. Fucking middle-aged white dudes, middle-aged white dudes. Oh my God, you got like beat them away with a bat. Like stay away, niggas. Right?
I'm skinny.
I'm telling
Dude,
you.
I'm East African skinny. All right, I'm not naturally skinny. I'm 6'3". I walk around at 180. First of all, all right, I'm a skinny ass motherfucker. But so what was I gonna say? Like yeah, I remember telling a story of what happened was like a friend of mine, who's a female, white female. And she goes both ways. And I remember a situation where, her friend was like, who goes both ways, was hitting on me. And she was drunk as shit. And I had to get out of that situation. But I couldn't just leave them out there. I had to make sure that I had to put an end to that, make sure everybody got home safe. And I went home. And I've told this story many times to a lot of people. And I'm going to tell that story some other time for y'all if you want to hear it. But now it's not the time because you got low ass battery.
Yep, it's at 8%.
And your girl's gonna kill you because your battery was too low for her to get pick up a message. Next thing you know, we're gonna have to explain like a
Hey, what did Trell just say in my comments? Oh my
Rudy
God.
motherfucker asked if I needed head. I'm like,
Trell, he asked you that just like that? Oh my God.
Trell,
Hey,
I'm just gonna say
at
one
least
thing
they're
about
more
that.
subtle. They came up to me way more subtle than that. Way more.
Nigga, I'm gonna tell you a story right now. I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story that happened to my brother. And this was in Oslo. It was, now he's got some friends with LGBTQ, right? He went with them to the Pride Parade. And a couple of gay dudes approached him. My brother's like 5'10", 5'11". He's like a beefy 220, 225. Stocky motherfucker. They came approach him. He's like, no, I'm good. They walked away, and when they're walking away, one of them just looked at him and felt in disgust and said, fucking tease. Even though he wasn't even looking at them. They approached him. He wasn't giving no energy. Shit. Trell Bentley, if you were gonna be in a situation like that, all I can say to you is flavor condoms, nigga. Flavor condoms. You don't know where that motherfucker's mouth been.
Ugh. No.
Oh, God. I said flavor condoms.
Patrice O'Neal skit be like, it's cold out here.
No. That was on O&A. That was on O&A. That was on O&A. He talked about that story.
You remember when who was it when they mentioned, was it Jamie Foxx when he was talking about Prince and he was talking to Prince security guard and he was like, I've been fucking him for years. I was like,
no, wait. I'll give you another example. Arnez J. He told the story on the radio of a similar situation. And it's so fucked up that he went out. He thought he was the cutest community because he went touring with Prince, right? He even got himself like one of those mesh black sequin shirts with the back out.
Rasta, no.
He did. He tells the therapist what happened. He was bitch made when he met. He went bitch when he met Prince. We looked at his eyes. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing?
Look, like I said, I can't talk crap because Mr. Z still wears slim fit jeans. I'm not really into skinny jeans like that because I got too fat. But you know, I I
Uh,
I do believe that there are different. I don't think you got
fuck
to be hard
that.
as nails all the time. But this
No.
we getting real close. Like when Negro started when Jaden tried to do the whole skirt thing, I was like, no, bro. When Negroes was wearing the shorts, the little two shorts with the onesies, what not the onesies, what is that shit called? The
It's called a
jumper set, like
onesie. Yeah, it's
the
called a
the jumper
onesie.
sets. Yeah,
It's called a
I was
onesie.
like, no, y'all had young draw out here, like no, okay. I'm not walking around in crotch hugger fucking shorts, maybe long jeans, but not crotch hugger shorts, okay? Friggin' and nah, bro. And then you know whatever. Anyway, your style is your style, whatever. But this yeah, I
Or
just think we just live in
or
it's just a different world. It's just whoa.
or you
Aaron
can be
McGlory was a prop.
or you could be or you can be like Samuel L.
Funny.
Jackson in 51st State / Formula
Uh,
51 and just rock a kilt like a motherfucker.
bruh. It yeah, it's just okay guys, we are like 5% battery life. All right.
All right.
Love, peace, and chicken grease. We'll end it
You
out
ain't shit,
here.
nigga. Fuck y'all. But
Well,
love y'all.
Um go ahead, go ahead. I think wait,
okay.
is that you, Kevin C, or who was that? That
Go
Oh
ahead,
probably
yeah.
was
Kevin. Go ahead,
closing
Okay.
out.
Kevin.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, Mr. Z. Thank you so
No,
much, man.
no problem, you guys.
Hey, thanks for having us. Drive
Thanks
safely,
for
Z.
having me up.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Okay,
email you
everyone.
something too, Z. I want to get
Okay.
your
Oh
opinion
yeah.
on it.
Kev C, I think Kev C wanted to email me something. Also, all of y'all either put it in the comments or email it to me. My email's in the description. I'm definitely gonna check out the channel that y'all were telling me about with these racist. Let's call a thing a thing. The husband and the wife are anti-black male. They're racist as crap. Call a thing a thing. I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna finish listening to Gender War Lore the video that he put out. And yeah, we'll y'all check for me either. Damn, but I'm gonna be dropping the Z. Damn. Okay, I'm gonna try to do something either later on tonight or tomorrow morning. I'll just have to come home and then do it that way instead of driving. Yeah, okay, yeah. So
All right.
y'all check out for me for that, and I'm gonna probably cover that because I know it's gonna be some mess, especially if y'all telling me to listen to it. Wow. Okay, and the divester hunter continues. All right, y'all. love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll pause right here. And y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Go check out other Black Manosphere content. Go check out other non-Manosphere content so y'all don't sound like these fools out here in the world, and y'all can get your mind right and get your finances right and your physique right. So now Mr. Z's gonna start stressing that on his channel so that I could like kind of badger myself and start getting my body right before this gut becomes unmanageable. And yeah, okay, all right, you guys have a great rest of your day. Mr. Z out.
Peace.
Mr. Z.